say started, but no, you're gonna.
And we are live. Tonight we react to some UFC politics and how of a not else maybe they could sound like. So I have no idea what we are getting into. So I will ask you, Dragon, what is the bigger context? What are we getting into tonight?
Okay, I have mentioned before about think tanks and groups. Um, Governments and our government and certain groups there are called think tanks. The SPLC is a nonprofit organization that advises government officials, other groups on. They were founded 55 years ago to battle people. And then here's the thing, they started to become corrupt. So around 2000, they started going after eventually some Christian groups, other things. So they finally had a charge levied against them. One of the big things that came out of this investigation, they finally turned them over. They were supposed to be an anti-racist organization. Now, you should know the word anti-racist and a bunch of others. So in recent years, they've been calling Christians that. But what came out through SPLC being investigated officially, it goes back to basically even to Charlottesville. They were paying informants. So Charlottesville, the Democrats have hung around Trump's neck for many, many years. Now, the interesting part about this is because we have an expert culture, no one questioned the Southern Poverty Law Center. No one said, are you becoming radicals yourselves? Why were you putting Christians on a hate group watch list? What is your criteria?
That sounds like effing
This
Canada.
sounds like Canada. I will tell you, there is at least, I am waiting for the anti
Bruh.
defamation. This is what I told Michael. I said, I am waiting on the Anti Defamation League lawsuit, something to come out about them. This is
I'm worried now. I'm worried.
so here's this part. The Anti Defamation League is very similar. They're like supposed to be Catholics that are anti Semitic. Yeah, good luck on that one. But the thing is that Southern Poverty Law Center had in the recent 10 years labeled Turning Point USA.
That's Charlie
Uh,
Kirk, right?
yes, and then eventually you'll see in this hearing, he was asked, do you feel bad about putting people here on this? They have had an entire history. This is something, if you know, most people have only never heard of the SPLC. This is like just one of many think tanks that are used as experts. Now, they were used as experts to guide reports under Biden that targeted conservatives.
Oh, that sounds like Canada.
This
Wow.
has been going on. Like you ask, like
You
we
guys
don't
are
have.
turning like us. You don't want that.
No, no. The problem is this doesn't work because they don't have the power to do it. We have the infrastructure. The thing is, what turned this over is one of the informants at Charlottesville that was supposed to drive that led to the deaths is one of the things claimed. Now, you're going to see very, I had to cut out in the questions a couple of Republicans that did not sound well, mostly Democrats talking the same points, some deranged, because, okay, so ranking
That sounds
committee.
fun.
So here's the problem Raskin is unique and a special person. Raskin is known as a liar by both parties.
Amazing.
But he is just the most well-spoken of them.
So
In
I
this
guess now we
Yes.
have the greater context.
You
I think
have
it's
it.
the perfect moment to have the opening statement. Let's react to this. I
So let
think
me
we are
explain
in
this
for
how this
last.
works. Let me how this works. In a committee hearing, they are set forth. This is the second committee hearing on this. This was on June 8th. This just not leaked out, but it got known wider context in the last couple of days. But the SPLC was indicted earlier this year. Their court case is in federal court in middle of Mississippi. Now, I believe it's Mississippi or Alabama. You will, because here's the thing about this. Now, one of the guys that's involved, because a lot of this is, so they always have the two ranking members. There's one for each party. Now, they have 4 witnesses. Usually it's balanced sometimes.
Oh, I like that. Better
So,
in Canada. Anyway,
you
let's
will
play
learn-
that now.
You will learn.
The one thing we get wrong when we start these investigations, when we start this oversight, is it's always worse than we thought. We now have the superseding indictment from the Justice.
I like that opening statement. It's factual. It's always worse than we thought. I cannot wait for the rest.
A lot of people don't like Jim Jordan. Jim Jordan is more well-spoken. A lot of these people that have been up here a while can, pardon the phrase, speak better than others. Because a lot of the ones you see are the Democrats. They're usually mouth-frothing old people who just look. A couple of them.
The boomers generation.
No, I had to cut them out because look, some of them. Link below. He'll probably link the full thing below.
Yeah, I did.
Most people cannot sit through C-SPAN. C-SPAN is how our government works. Like the lady, like you see
let's do this, right?
like
Enough
you see
speaking.
Department. It wasn't $3 million that they were paying these field sources. It was actually $4 million. The Southern Poverty Law Center paid to field sources, and they didn't just pay them to foment the hate they told their donors they were fighting. They actually dated them. That's right. Southern Poverty Law Center employee was in a romantic relationship with field source number 9, a member of the Racist National Alliance. This SPLC employee who was supposed.
What's that racist organization? Is it just because it's right-leaning and it doesn't like immigration? Or
no, the thing is they pay for informants to infiltrate organizations they can file lawsuits on or do things. So there's several organizations they infiltrated. Like, he gets asked later on, what's the president of the National Socialist Organization in America? He doesn't know because they had an operator in there. Yeah, no. What people think is conspiracy theory is conspiracy fact. The thing is, a lot of coverage, the questions I took out, like you'll hear stuff like great placement theory. Democrats, one of the big deals is this hearing, there's parts of it. The Republicans ask the questions, but you got to bear in mind, they're asking similar questions multiple times, getting different answers. But it's to establish facts. But when you talk about agents, that's the agents they use to infiltrate organizations.
okay, yeah, let's play more of that now.
Supposed to be dismantling hate groups with the intelligence
Hate
project
groups. It's
was
big.
dating the field source that they were paying, and in fact, they had a joint bank account. Wow. And guess what the SPLC paid this individual? $1.2 million to, again, create and foment the hate they told their donors they were fighting. Now, it gets worse. An individual who led the National Socialist Party, a faction of the Aryan nations, reached out to SPLC. He wanted out.
Okay. National American Socialist Party. See, look, there are such thing as neo-Nazis in the US, but they basically salute into closets, okay? Here's one of the biggest lies about Americans. Basically, Klansmen exist in very small numbers. Nazis, actual Nazis groups, skinheads, and things of that nature, are very non-existent.
No crap. You know why?
They
I know
they
why. I know why. It's not socially acceptable. I think it's deeply wrong. That's why
Yes,
it's not
even
happening.
by us, even by our standards, they salute into closets. So every time you hear about a Democrat or a liberal in America say there's racist everywhere. No, there isn't. There's a
I
special
think deep
kind,
down, everyone has some form of racist.
but the
Deep down, I think we are.
but
But
national
that's
like
just my take.
actually Nazis and Klans people. Democrats have been trying to say there's Klans people and white supremacists everywhere. You can thank the
This is
SPLs.
actually stupid. Like,
You
white supremacists, I'm sorry, folks, but this is a breed that will go extinct. And that's fine, that's fine. The white
yeah.
supremacists, they did enough damage like that.
But no, here's the thing. You'll hear a lot of the lies in America about white supremacists and white terrorist organizations being everywhere
Imagine in Canada if that's like
has
that in the
largely been
USA.
promoted by the SPLC.
Amazing.
The funny part about this is they almost had to manufacture it or use isolated incidents as so when you hear about certain examples, they're very, very rare. But I want people to remember this organization only has a half a dozen Muslim brotherhoods or what is it, the Nation of Islam as anti-Semitic Muslim organizations. Six.
Wow, that's a lot.
Out.
Oh, and by the way, before I forget, I really want to say that, like, each time a leftist throws the eighth word, that person tends to exaggerate, because anything that doesn't align with them is deemed to be hatred, and it's deeply wrong, and it's effing stupid. That's the progressive mentality. Think like me, or you're the bad guy.
So the thing is with his statement is crisp and concise. I want people to understand if you have it, a lot of this stuff is more about procedure. The thing is, they talk about Charlottesville, Virginia. One person, that's the famous rally that Trump said there's decent people in both sides, but the violence committed and 2 officers died. Liberal Democrats tried to hang that as a millstone around Trump's neck for all this time, saying he was dog whistling Nazis. Now,
that no longer exists, by the way. Thank you.
But here's the thing about this. That
World War II was about them losing. I want to remind everyone that.
No, here's the thing about the Charlottesville story. Everyone said the great lie of Charlottesville, the Democrats have been using it wrong. They drag it out like they drag out the Epstein files. Now, according to the Democrats, the worst atrocity committed within the last 20 years, 100 years, in fact, 150, is January 6th. Don't laugh too hard, Multi. It's worse than World War II, and it's worse than the U.S. Civil War.
Are you kidding me?
Yes, according to Democrats, there is some stuff I had to cut out of here, and you might see it in Raskin's thing.
That's so unhinged. One could think it's from Canada.
He will say, I think it's in some of Raskin's testimony.
Like, I expect that from Canadian to see anything from the USA as being like crazy, unhinged, big word event that's word shattering. But when it comes from you guys and you view it that way, Wow, I'm worried
So
now.
here's the thing about a lot of the TDS liberals. They use January 6th as the worst day since Pearl Harbor or a worst day of the Civil War.
This is crazy. Like
You would
I
not
get
believe this.
I get that from Canada. You see, I can't believe you that Canadian are like that. But to think American thinks that way, crazy.
But there's also the part of a lot
Are
of
you guys losing your mind?
there's a lot of parts of Democrats, when you look at the districts they represent, you can look up where they're from. Like there's a couple I cut out just because it's nonsense or it's just not good. It's like rhetorical or they're just because 3 hours of testimony is just what I condensed out of the first half. The second half, because that's in the questions. So
Well,
I gotta
it's
set this
kinda
because
nuts. It's kind
I
of
will
nuts.
see it. You'll hear a little bit. I'm going to warn people. If you have never heard Jamie Raskin's actual speech, I almost cut out in question. I actually almost cut out the part where Raskin was trying to be contrarian, but I'm like, that needs to stay. I want you to notice how. See, this is just the opening statement because a lot of our Congress is more procedure. That's what I had to cut out.
Interesting. So now, with that being said, let's play more of that opening statement.
He wanted help in leaving this racist group. And what did the SPLC do? They said, no, no, no. Stay in the group. We'll pay you a monthly salary. We'll reimburse you for hosting rallies, purchasing racist materials. Of course, that was field source number 30.
You know what we need? We need more races. No, I cannot.
I
take
want
that
you to
seriously.
understand.
I just cannot take that
You're
seriously.
not going to
I'm
believe
sorry,
this
but,
is
like,
real. No one's going to believe this is real. This is them paying an informant because this is where you get into the story about Charlottesville. Charlottesville, there's also a thing on USAID that was used to fund a lot of organizations and media websites. So here's something. It's not that, because what you're hearing with agents and numbers is part of the case. It sounds insane, but it's real. It's the thing is, again, think tanks influence. I'm just gonna say it.
Again, it cannot be taken seriously. I'm sorry, folks. If you take that as gospel, I think you're stupid.
And they'll get into it later, but a lot of that is wrapped up into the criminal indictment that Fairbanks will not answer.
Anyway, let's play more of that.
About F-37, Field Source 37. This person's the one who coordinated transportation and attended the 2017 rally in Charlottesville.
That's
wow. Southern Poverty Law Center paid him $300,000 to the guy who helped put together the event where a young lady was killed.
So sad.
F-27. He was paid $350,000. What'd he do? He ran the Aryan Nations Motorcycle Club. F-43, president of some crazy group, was previously convicted of cross-burning, but the SPLC thought he was worth $19,000 of their donors' money. Again, all told, $4 million to manufacture hate.
Oh, wow. Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? Is it really happening now in the USA? No. I don't believe that. Are we losing the USA? I thought we gained back the USA. I thought the USA got common sense back. But I hear this crap, and I'm like, is it only 50% of Americans that got their conscience back? Dragon, I need help there. What's up with that? I guess he's occupied with his cat. But now I'm worried about you guys. I had a lot of hopes for you guys. I wanted to find a shelter in the USA, but I'm hearing that so deemed hateful network, and I don't know if you're that better than us. Let's play more.
We said this last hearing. I still remember Rahm Emanuel saying, talking about Democrats, never let a crisis go to waste. The SPLC took it a
Sounds like them.
step further. They created the crisis. They manufactured the crisis. And by
Sounds
so
like
doing,
them.
they became the standard, the source for determining who is a hate group. They labeled Family Research Council a hate group. Moms for Liberty was labeled a hate group. Turning Point USA labeled a hate group. Alliance Defending Freedom, even though they argued...
What about I turn all of these anti-hate network as hate group? Uno card, folks. Uno card. I just reversed the roles. You get to draw 6. You are all hateful for thinking we are hateful. Let's fight fire with fire, folks. Let's do this. Hello there. We are witnessing apparently the USA Congress being as stupid as Canada when it comes to freedom of speech. I'm serious now. Apparently, like lots of think tank, just because they're right leaning, are deemed hateful. Amazing. This is how we fall into tyranny, folks. When you label an entire side of the spectrum as being hateful. This is how you lose your democracy. Look at Canada, look at the UK. This is how they turn into shithole. Well, thank you very much, Maxim. So I'll just let you know, because you're new, we do that kind of content once a week, usually on Saturdays, sometimes Fridays if Saturday I can't. The rest of the week it's mostly movie discussions because I like escapism. But usually at least once a week we have that kind of reaction to all sorts of things. I like politics, but I cannot talk about Canadian politics because of what's going on. It's really dark. It's really bad. You can join the Discord or text me on Twitter. I can let you know more about that. People in our circle, they know about that. If you find the right playlist, you may hear what happened. But yeah, let's play more about these people that denounce hatred just because it's right-leaning folks. Amazing. I'm laughing.
16 multiple cases, 116 cases in front of the Supreme Court. They were labeled a hate group, but never Jane's Revenge. Never the group who vandalized crisis pregnancy centers.
It's called You Have the Right Politics. So what happened with the Southern Poverty Law Center is, and this was a shift within the last 10 years, 12 years, they started going after Christian organizations or the far right, what they considered the far right. So here's the thing about this. We all knew that this was an internal actual documents with the SPLC. We had no proof. The funny thing about this is this sounds outlandish because Democrats don't want to believe this to be true. They basically, I can bring it up what they show what the hate map is. They don't consider Muslims anti-Semitic sources.
Do they know about the grooming gangs?
We don't have grooming gangs here.
No, but in the UK, did they hear about it?
Yeah, they probably do. Do liberals really care?
Oh, you're right.
Dude,
you're the right nationality, therefore you can do
sorry.
anything.
We got Democrats and liberals that were supporting Muslims with literally the title Gays for Palestine. I want you to
And I'm not quite sure, but I think in Palestine, gays get
thrown off
rocks
buildings.
thrown at them. I think I might be wrong on that.
They get stoned. Good job. So you want like this weird. So they only, to their credit, said they only have. You'll find this out later. They put. I'd have to show what they consider the hate map.
Any red state.
You just need to like let this play, because once you get to Raskin, Jamie Raskin is probably the most well-spoken on his side. Jim Jordan is very smart, but the thing is, what he describes sounds like the work of a spy novel. But this has been the SPLC for over a decade.
Wow. So I will say it again. We are all hateful, folks. Let's play more.
Churches, in the aftermath of the Dobbs decision, they never got labeled. And the Biden Justice Department helped make them the standard. This is probably the part that bothers me, I think bothers most people the most. They helped make the Southern poverty the standard in evaluating who's a hate group, who isn't.
Okay, let me say this first.
And that's a left-leaning, the morally superior think tank.
So here's one of the weird problems with American culture, or I guess global culture. We have an expert culture. It's called experts.
It's so cancer.
That's where the think tanks, the organizations come in that advise. And the SPLC, ACLU, ADL, the ADL is the Anti-Defamation League. They're probably as corrupt as SPLC now because they have the activists get in it.
Wow.
Because look, here's the thing about the Anti-Defamation League. In the last 3 to 5 years, especially after October 7th, it showed a lot of Democrats and liberals were very anti-Semitic, including Catholics. So
wow.
Now, that's mainly the big support from the ADL. Now, this is just something if you know about the organizations that are behind it, because you got to keep in context. A lot of these organizations are considered experts in their field. No one really usually second questions them. But second thoughts. That's
ridiculous. That thought process is, oh, that's a professional, don't question it. It's so ridiculous. It's void of any common sense. It's like dismissing anyone that's not some degree scholar. And I went to school a lot after high school. I didn't get degrees because nothing really truly interested me. But to tell you this, for roughly 5 to 6 years after high school, I did study different things for years. So I know a lot of things, and yet I don't have degrees. So because of that, well, I'm stupid. Sure, I'm stupid. I probably know more about different things than you, but sure, you got the degree, folks. You got the degree. You're the smartest in the room. It's ridiculous. I don't like when people think that way, but hey, this is elitist at its finest, folks.
Because they consulted with them, they had quarterly meetings. The Deputy Attorney General, Lisa Monaco, quarterly met with SPLC. They would give SPLC any information they had, the Justice Department, the FBI had, they give it to them first. They even used them to train prosecutors. And of course, we know what it resulted in. The now famous memorandum from the FBI.
I also got to point out, during this time period, we were discovering the SPLC was giving stuff. Twitter was on, you had in the Twitter files, the FBI was deeming a lot of people extremists.
Wow.
Yeah. There's a lot.
So much used. That word is so much used. It's like hatred. all of these words will lose any meaning. The elite, they think they can throw away like um every word all the time just to pretend it has impact, but it'll actually diminish any impact. It's like, now, to be honest, um I used to say no, I'm not racist. I used to defend myself, but now I don't care anymore. I don't care anymore. I mean, I got a wife that's black. My kid will be mixed race. So I don't care if you think I'm racist. I really don't. I think you are, for the sole premise that you think I am. Because a lot of people do projection. They project their belief into someone else. So again, the more you throw a word around, the less it is impactful. And to think otherwise, it's elitist at its finest. To think you can just white out any consequence, repeat, and do that. And what it can also do is radicalize people even more toward the thought process, because you'll just piss them off. As simple as that. Again, I'm pissed. Someone can call me racist all day. I don't care. I don't care. Done trying to seek approval from deranged people, because this is what I think. I think people that keep throwing all words around the way the left does, I think all of these people are deranged. They've been conditioned, brainwashed, and wired to just snap at anyone that doesn't agree with them or this system, and I think it's ridiculous. So let's play more.
My field office in Richmond, Virginia, where the FBI said if you're a pro-life Catholic, you're an extremist. And of course, who did they cite for that? You guessed it.
And again, just like that, extremist again is being thrown around. Words that are being thrown around like that, they will lose their impact. So keep doing that. Keep doing that. Maybe eventually people will stop believing in extremes. So it's sad. It's sad it has become like that. Eventually, I think when the boomer will die off, a lot of that chunk of delusional people will just vanish. And once the millennials childless will also vanish. A lot of that
No,
ideology will
younger
die.
people are worse. The younger Democrats are a lot worse.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah, they were a lot worse than the boomers.
Okay, well, it's sad.
The Southern Poverty Law Center. Southern Poverty Law Center became part of the weaponized Garland Biden Justice Department. Now, here's what's interesting. The Biden DOJ knew all about this scam that they were.
Oh, let me say this. These are the same people. There's a lot of people, when you hear our news stories about Trump weaponizing the DOJ, guess
Yeah.
who weaponized the DOJ? Biden and Obama.
Oh, really?
Uh-huh.
So the left doesn't like when the right emulates them.
Do
Great.
not use the tools in toy box, I guess. Apparently, the Trump DOJ is the most corrupt DOJ ever.
Just because it's Republican, folks.
But the Biden DOJ, the Obama DOJ, did nothing wrong.
Okay, well, again, I think the more we talk that way, the less it will have any meaning. Radicalization loses its meaning the more you use that word.
Fun fact about DOJs. DOJs and attorney generals are always politicized. It's just a question to what side. Same as these committees. Sometimes you get really good stuff out of these committees. Sometimes you don't.
It happens. Let's play more of that now.
Running. They knew the SPLC was doing this, but they didn't pursue the case. They dropped the case. Because when you meet with them, when you consult with them, when you have them train your prosecutors, you're not going to prosecute them. Nope, you're not going to do it because it's too valuable politically. And here's the scary part. And I'm sure we'll have questions from Mr. Fair later on about this. Here's the scary part. It all worked. Field Source 37, the guy at the Charlottesville rally, helped plan that rally, coordinate transportation there, was paid to attend. After the event, again, after the event where a lady was killed, the Southern Poverty Law Center almost tripled their income.
Also, 2 cops got killed. And the
Wow.
Southern Poverty Law Center tripled their income worth.
That's sad.
51 million to 133 million after they were coordinating the hate that took place at that crazy rally.
Coordinated hate! Another word that will lose meaning very soon because you can see that word all over the place, plastered on every wall. It loses its meaning. Once again, keep saying this. It's music to my ears. I like it. Do that more often.
You run a scam, you become the standard, you don't get prosecuted, and you make a ton of money. They got 800 million assets, 700 million in an endowment. Such a deal. And they would have gotten away with it, but for the oversight of Congress, and more importantly, the work of the Justice Department. So God bless the Attorney General and the work him and his team are doing. And we look forward to hearing from our witnesses today and asking them questions. And with that, I would yield to the ranking member for an opening statement.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. Welcome to our witnesses. Created in 1971 and headquartered in Montgomery, Alabama. Created in 1971, headquartered in Montgomery, Alabama. The Southern Poverty Law Center is one of America's leading civil rights groups. It fights for voting rights throughout the South, economic...
That sounds like far right. That sounds like far right. It is far right, folks.
Justice and criminal justice reform. Like every major civil rights group in our history, it's been subjected to serious white supremacist violence. Its leaders have been threatened and attacked since its founding, and SPLC...
If you have never seen Jamie Raskin, you're going to wonder why. This man is universally known by both parties to be a dishonest piece of shit.
Wow.
You can actually, even in Democrat sources, catch this man lying. He's just a really damn good spokesman for the Democrats. But whenever you see a dumb talking point, I warn you, this man will talk intelligent, because I want you to know, multi can see the link when Jim Jordan talked. Look how much is left in this section of the video. This is all Raskin.
He will sell you a freaking pig, and he will tell you that's a horse.
I'm just gonna tell you, you gotta take certain things he said with a grain of salt. This is a man who talked with Legal and said Trump is a tyrant and wants to become a monarchist.
Wow. I can't wait for Trump's third term.
This is literally like, if you don't believe me, that interview's out there.
I believe you. I believe you. Like, people are deranged. I said it. People are deranged.
Yes. You remember how I've told you now? Just listen to this guy. I've told you, your NDP are miniature versions of our Democrats.
People are deranged.
Were firebombed in 1983 by members of the Ku Klux Klan who were convicted of conspiracy in federal court. After this attack and escalating racial terror, the SPLC added to its work a focus on the Klan and neo-Nazi groups and other purveyors of hate, violence, and white supremacy. In 1988, the SPLC litigated against the Southern whites of the Ku Klux Klan, the Southern white knights of the Ku Klux Klan, and drove them into bankruptcy, winning $1 million.
I think it's
no, it was real.
It's real? It exists?
So how the Southern Poverty Law Center dealt with the Klan? They just sued them for causing violence and death, so the group eventually went bankrupt.
Wow.
Then they went further underground.
But
So
sometimes I hear people, and I'm just saying these people are deranged.
no, but that is an actual was a sect of the Ku Klux Klan,
Wow.
and they did do that. But
I do think the Ku Klux Klan is actually very deranged. I want
yes,
this on record.
they
I
are.
think these are not cases,
Yes, they
and
are.
if you think there's still a lot of them, I think you're wrong. I might be
The,
crazy,
they
but I don't
are.
think there's a lot of them
I want to
anymore.
be honest. Someone asked me who do I think is worse than Trump. I said Woodrow Wilson. So I was asking a friend, and he goes, who would be worse than President Trump? I go, Woodrow Wilson. Woodrow Wilson was a progressive president during World War One. Not only got the Treaty of Versailles signed that led to World War Two, also established was an actual progressive worse. Progressive, when we think of progressives back then, started under Teddy Roosevelt. But by the time it got to FDR, he was a white college professor who wanted black people kicked out of his college or never to go to his university. Now, guess what he also did? He was a rampant racist. He also aired the Ku Klux Klan film in the White House that reinvigorated them. Yeah.
Wow.
You
People are deranged.
you really there's a lot they don't talk about with Woodrow Wilson and progressives, but this was progressives 100 years ago.
Wow.
So
Okay. I
yeah,
see.
I just want you to know.
Damages verdict on behalf of
Things
more than 50
change.
peaceful civil rights marchers in Forsyth County, Georgia, who had been savagely attacked and injured by the Klan. In 2019, it brought a $14 million judgment and won it against the neo-Nazi founder of the Daily Stormer for orchestrating an anti-Semitic troll storm harassment campaign consisting of more than 700 death threats and vile abuse against a
Yes,
Jewish
this is
woman and
vile.
her family. The SPLC has defended the rights of anyone and everyone targeted for hate, violence, oppression, and murder. Today, it's under attack by the Trump administration and MAGA. Like the Voting Rights Act of 1965.
That sounds like BS.
I'm going to say this.
Is that true? What's your take on that?
Okay, I got to get this out of the way. Democrats talking about lawfare.
That's rich. It's kind of ridiculous.
It's rich. It is very rich. I'm not
Especially
the
if
biggest,
they are just like my liberals here. That's rich.
I'm going to say this. There's a point. I'm not the biggest Trump supporter. I do believe the man is sometimes 50-50 on good days. But here's something. Democrats have been using lawfare for over 4 years against Trump. Any kind.
So even when he wasn't president, he was attacked?
Yes.
Wow.
They were using, these people take lawfare, that's legalized warfare, with legal defense. They have perverted the court system. This is what they don't tell about in the U.S. There's entire circuit courts, which are all fucked up for various reasons, but they rule purposely against Trump. You'll see a lot of Democrats say, oh, this circuit court voted against Trump. But look deeply to where that circuit court is. Where is that circuit court? Democrats have been using lawfare. They only care now because it's being used against them.
Okay.
Now, does that make sense?
Yeah, it does.
It's very rich when the Democrats want to use lawfare against anyone around Trump, Steve Bannon, Giuliani.
In the meantime, they want the criminals to be loose.
They are pissed off it's being used against an organization they support.
Well. Is that true? That question was similarly answered. But do you have a more clear answer to is that true?
Which part?
The thing about Trump, the statement the guy said before we paused.
He's trying to go after the SPLC. I would be honest, there was as I said, they've already mentioned Charlottesville. So I don't think it's weaponized. The problem is it's very hard to look at our justice system at the federal level. It's meant to be a regulating force. But
Interesting.
because the Democrats have so perverse the courts,
It's no longer like that.
it looks like any time Trump tries to go after somebody, it's always abuse of power.
Wow.
Because I'll be the first to say Pam Bondi was a retard.
What about the Democrats?
So,
the great
look, I'll say this. Pam Bondi was an idiot.
There's
But then
lots of
again-
idiots out there.
Yes. She wasn't smart. That's why I said
legislative achievement of the modern civil rights movement, now dismantled by the Roberts Court. The SPLC is an enduring institutional beacon of hope for millions of people seeking to create a more...
Let me say this. An organization is only as good as long as you maintain the tradition. That moment, think of the game company. Think of your favorite video game. Is that the same game? Is that the same team that made the video game years ago? It's not the studio that made Halo anymore. Now is it? It's the spare parts of it. Does that make sense, Multi?
Yeah.
These organizations change structure over the years. It's very apparent with the SPLC. This is why this man is very special.
perfect union. The Trump administration is thus naturally trying to tear...
Oh, this gets better. Raskin firmly believes in the rule of law.
Like lots of liberals that actually
Don't
but they
laugh
say
too
they
hard. Don't laugh too hard.
do. You know why
He
I'm laughing?
believes.
I will explain this. I will explain this to a lot of people that may be new to this. A lot of liberals throw around the rule of law, but they don't really apply it. They don't really like it. They only want to say that so they can get the center-leaning people and some of the right-leaning people. That's why they throw away that word so much that each time I hear it from a leftist, I cannot take you seriously. I just can't. I've seen too much of, oh, let's have a lighter sentence because that one is not from here.
Well, look.
Roll of law, folks. Roll of law.
Remember rule of law and tradition. The funny part about Raskin is when Raskin talked to Legal, I was almost dying because Raskin is like that guy. He quotes actual laws, but none of the Democrats follow them.
Amazing. Well, I'm not surprised.
Rules.
People.
Say it is. It's
it
rules
down.
for thee,
I've heard
not
three
for
main
me.
arguments for this astonishing crusade. The first is that the age of racism and white supremacy violence is over
It's back.
in the 21st century. And so the SPLC's work is unnecessary. Well, this is plainly ridiculous. We live in an age of resurgent racial injustice.
Bruh. No. No, okay. It's brain rot at its finest.
I
don't
told
believe
you.
it.
You've never
Wow.
seen Jamie Raskin. I've told you. You've never seen this man.
We are the most far left society ever in history.
No.
People
our
can get
liberals
away
have
with
you. People
stabby town if they are so-called minorities. And then that guy tells me, "Oh no, it's no longer needed."
There is no such thing as racism or
Yeah.
Antifa because these are the same
Antifa don't
Democrats.
exist. They just bomb like these ICE centers, but they don't exist.
No. Here's the funny thing: these are the same Democrats that tell you ICE and Antifa, the Antifa protesters and the radical progressive people who were organizing loot mobs and doing the ICE protests and all these like up in was it Michigan or Minnesota? They're not an organized terror group.
And
These
by the way, I
people,
want to say that just to highlight how ridiculous it can get. Again, ICE, I think, is a great example of how the left is not really for the rule of law. Because let's be honest, yes, sometimes there are abuse of power. Yes, sometimes things go too far. But here's the thing. ICE exists to protect the immigration system, to make sure people don't abuse it. They just apply the law the way it should be applied. That's the purpose of ICE. That's the purpose of ICE. So again, if you're for the rule of law, you shouldn't be going out trying to bomb the ICE centers. Like, it just doesn't work together. And that goes back to what I said a few minutes ago. The rule of law meme. Each time the left brings it up, you cannot take them seriously, because then they will try to criticize ICE for doing their job and for applying the actual law and the rules, like what ICE should be doing, what the government should be doing. But no. The left, they don't like when the rules apply to some specific group. This is what it is. It's hilarious. Don't come to me speaking of rule of law if you think that way. It just doesn't work. It's crazy. People are deranged. I said it so many times this stream. People are deranged. And let's play more now.
Found economic inequality and relentless assaults on the right to vote. Racist violence still permeates our society. In recent memory, avowed racists and white supremacists have killed 23 people in the El Paso Walmart massacre, 11 people worshiping at the Tree of Life synagogue in the worst anti-Semitic attack in American history, 10 people who were killed shopping for groceries in the Buffalo supermarket massacre, 9 worshiping parishioners were gunned down at the Mother Emanuel Church massacre in Charleston, South Carolina, and 8 people were killed at the Atlanta spa shootings, to name just 5 examples.
I can name as many from the left. Each time they attack, assault, or threaten the life of effing ICE agents, or like Kirk. I mean, this is an example. And I know, like, I've heard a lot of stories. Oh, even the Democrat, they get shot at in politics, but like, no big figure like effing Kirk got shot on the left. I don't really know your figures on the left outside of Hassan, but Hassan is still running around, and I feel like he said worse thing than effing Kirk. Yet nobody puts a bullet in him. So again, the right also falls victim to violence. So stop always saying only the right does it. No, you both do it. You both do it, folks. It's being radical, it's being dangerous. It's also the risk of having a lot of humans out there, because the more human you have, the more risk you have for crimes like that. It's just logical. And the same goes for any country. It's not because it's the USA, it's not because it's Canada, it's not because this is Palestine or whatever. It's human nature. A lot of human didn't evolve past the animal stage. And this is what we are witnessing. Let's be real about that.
Out of thousands, in 2024 alone, the FBI recorded nearly 12,000 hate crime episodes in our country. Just a few weeks ago, 3 fathers died defending their mosque, and 140 children at worship services in San Diego.
Okay, the growing gang. How many people did they take out? in the UK.
No, the grooming gang stuff doesn't have anything here. What
I
he's
know, but
talking,
he brings example of violence against the left. Now I will bring an example of people they try to protect doing violence. So the people
so
they try
here's
to
the
protect are also doing violence.
so here's the thing about the San Diego attack. It was proven to be more radical. It's like, but for every time in the last, let's say 2 or 3 years, we've had a right attack, you'd forget we had a friendly Lebanese. It's either been a transgender shooter or basically a Muslim person shooting up something or another migrant.
These protected group being dangerous.
Oh,
Water is wet.
yes. Most of the people that were trying to assassinate Trump were either deranged or furries or
Wow.
non-binary, which is
But
really
let's not just talk about that, you know. Let's pretend it doesn't exist because it never
it
happened.
never happened. And by the way, the trial that's coming up, one of the trials coming up this year that's about to start, is the trial of Kirk Shooter.
Can't
Now,
wait for that.
Luigi Mangione, sorry, I butchered that title. His trial starts in the fall.
Oh well. Again, I will repeat what I said. I don't know if you heard it, but what I said is a lot of human didn't pass the animal stage. This is what I deeply believe, and this is why I think deep down most of us are racist. As much as you're in denial, I think you have racist tendencies, regardless of stripes, regardless of belief. I think we all have stereotypes and we all have preconceived ideas on others. I think it's human nature to be like that, to be judgmental of difference. And everyone is guilty of that, I think. Now, the big difference is what do you do with it? That's the big difference. Some crazy people, they go out and shoot out people, and others, they speak on the internet like me, and the left want people like me to be muted. Simple as that. So, let's play more of that.
Go against two fanatical white supremacist teenagers jacked up on white great replacement theory and far-right neo-Nazi ideology who took their
Wow.
own lives tragically
Wow.
after the attack. But here's the second argument they use. They say, well, even if there's all this violence that we're engulfed in, the Southern Poverty Law Center itself is responsible for the violence that we see around us.
It's
The
never
basis
the
for this
people.
outlandish
It's always
claim-
the weapon. It's always the organization. It's always the ideology. It's never the people that are deranged. There's so much violence. We never blame the people. It's never their fault. They don't have their own agency. It's always something else, someone else. I see a pattern. When you're left leaning, you take away agency from people. But they are not smart enough to do their own choices. That's beyond belief that someone would be that crazy and dangerous in society, right? Crazy talk. Let's play more.
is that for decades, at least since the 1990s, the SPLC has infiltrated and investigated the
And you know what's funny? They will blame guns, but again, not shooters. Fascinating. And maybe that's why they don't blame it when their side is shooting out someone, because they're like, it's the gun's fault. It's not the LGBTQ plus whatever.
My favorite part is in Minnesota. There was a Libyan man who blamed Israel for killing one of his family members. He put a
Wow.
bunch of flammable stuff in his truck to try to blow up, lit himself on fire, and tried to drive into a synagogue.
That's a marvelous example. It's fabulous. Like, we
I'm
need more of
just
these
saying,
people.
look, I will say this. There are far extremists on both sides of the political ideology, but man, do they cherry pick.
Yeah.
Because they overlook. Like, that's why I said the other week The Democrats don't realize they allied with the Muslims, the gays, and then the socialists, the Marxists, and the progressives, right?
And the Muslim, they throw rocks at
They don't even realize.
LGBTQ people in some countries.
Here's the thing: they ignore the fact that, like,
Wait, what I just said is racist.
here's the funny thing: Democrats ally themselves with all these people.
Oh, by the way, I heard about a story about someone in Belgium that said the truth, and the court attested and admitted it's the truth, but you may offend someone, therefore that person did like a time in jail. I can't remember how long, but you hear that kind of stories, and I'm like, Belgium is no longer a real country, folks.
Klan, neo-Nazis, and other groups by paying informants who go undercover. The purpose of these operations is obviously to derail and prevent white supremacist hate crimes and actions. Both
Wow.
the kinds of hate crimes
Unless
and
it's
shooting
Charlottesville.
sprees we see all around us, but even more massive terrorist attacks like the Oklahoma City Federal Building bombing, which took the lives of 100.
Okay, this was before you were born. Okay, so he's talking about the Timothy McVeigh. To refresh people, because I know this is really old. So the Murrah Federal Building bombing was done after Timothy McVeigh and Terry Nichols was inspired by the Waco siege done by Clinton, supposedly. But at that time, we also had a rise up of militias. Okay. So the example here by Raskin is totally off. It was because the government did the actions in Waco, where the Branch Davidians burned themselves to death. That's why the Murrah Federal Building was a 9-story building. He then packed a truck full of fertilizer, and it became a 6-story building with the front blown out. I hate being the historian for people. It's just like even in the 90s, we had the World Trade Center attack where Bin Laden tried to blow up. He actually believed if he blew up a bomb big enough in the basement of the World Trade Center, it would cause both to collapse.
Wow.
You didn't know about that so the Oklahoma City bombing he was talking about, it wasn't described by extremists. It was because of the actions of the government in Waco.
Okay. Wow.
Waco siege. There you go.
It's sad. So let's play more of that now.
168 Americans, many of them children, who were in a daycare center when the white nationalists unleashed their terrorism
And
on
he
the
wasn't
people
a white
of Oklahoma.
nationalist.
In the course of their work to investigate the extreme right, the SPLC has worked closely with the FBI for decades and turned over to the Bureau voluminous information, tips, and leads from their field sources for further investigation, criminal arrest, and prosecution. In 2017, the FBI listed the SPLC as one of its partners on its website, where it remained for 8 or 9 years before this administration. There's nothing new about that work. But now Todd Blanche and the Trump DOJ in Alabama have twisted and corrupted this proud history of cooperation with law enforcement to bring in.
Wait, it's only corrupted when the wrong people are doing it. When we are doing it, it's fine.
So these people actually think these organizations... Okay, I used this example earlier. I don't know if you heard me. So do you think Bungie is the same... Do you think the people who made Destiny 2 are the same people who made Halo?
No.
Why is that?
Too many years in between.
Too many years apart, right?
Yeah.
So like in video games, do you think these are they say, is this the same team that made X game? No, it's not. So when you look at organizations, guess what happens when you get new blood in it?
That's the new
Leadership
mob that does the
changes.
stuff.
Leadership changes, doesn't it?
And that's why Disney and the other companies didn't do like as good as Halo.
Now you look at like stuff like they talk about with the SPLC. What if it was founded by rational people at one time? But what happens when you get a couple of radical activists in the mix?
This is what we get. This is what we get.
11-count criminal indictment against the SPLC, claiming that it was defrauding its own donors. This is amazing, given not only that the SPLC donors and supporters cherish and prize the group precisely for its ability to get information in this way to stop hate crimes, but also incredible because the FBI itself uses the exact same practices for its own investigative work, spending in the neighborhood of not $3 or $4 million on undercover informants, but more than $40 million a year.
So here's a little history of the current FBI and why James Comey has been investigated twice. And in fact, he has another one. So the FBI used to be this good old boy, honest organization. I've always said it that if the liberals and the progressives get into the CIA and these organizations, they lose their thing. So I said when Mueller died, Robert Mueller died. He wasn't a bad man. His organization got corrupted by a bunch of agents that got promoted who wanted to investigate Trump and make up the P dossier. Yes, that's what it was, Multi, because they tried to say the Steele dossier was real with Trump. Guess who put that into place? Signed off on it to investigate Trump. The Obama White House in the final months.
Wow.
And all these people forget the FBI was weaponized against citizens and weaponized against Trump. So
amazing.
They all say the FBI is this good, honest organization. Go back to the Epstein files. The Epstein files the FBI had a special unit just going after conservatives or people committing wrongthink on Twitter at the time.
Are you serious?
Yes, I'm not kidding.
That sounds like a conspiracy theorist. But after everything I heard, maybe that's true.
Hey, Elon Musk pretty much confirmed it. The FBI did. They had it. They were trying to they wanted a back door into Twitter at the time to shut that down.
Are you? Wow.
Yep.
That's happening in the USA?
That was about before Musk took over. That was when it was under Twitter. It goes back to
you know
Twitter.
What? I know why the left hate so much Musk.
They hate look
because Musk is about defending people's right to speak up.
He's not the best individual, but he has preserved Twitter to be a free speech space.
If you stand for free speech, I'm sorry for all of the haters, but I think you are in the right side of history. And if you go down as someone that goes after free speech, I think you're on the wrong side of history. So the moment you antagonize someone that stands for free speech, I'm sorry, but your entire movement is insulting. Your entire movement is on the wrong side of history. So we need free speech to remain a free society.
Now, here's the big thing about what Raskin neglects to mention. Twitter was not free for conservatives. Oh, this whole investigation with the SPLC crosses a decade's worth of crap. So
wow,
it's all good.
Let's play more of that now.
There's nothing illegal about that. SPLC donors are not claiming fraud.
It's the government saying that it was used because people donate in blind faith to the SPLC. They're being honest.
That's sad.
So you don't realize that the organization is basically saying conservatives are bad for opposing not wanting to trans a 12-year-old.
Yeah.
People say that doesn't happen. Bullshit.
It happens in Canada. It's like the heaven for this crap to happen.
Mhm.
In Canada, it's so crazy. You can change your gender at effing like 12 years old, but they don't want you to access the internet. Anyway, that's crazy. That's
We're
crazy.
proud to support this program. Even the extremist groups themselves understood they were being infiltrated and were constantly looking for the traitors, the spies. Well, my friends, we know what a real fraud looks like. Consider a fraud called Trump University. A scam from top to bottom, where 9,000 victims joined 3 different class action lawsuits.
I'm going to tell you, Balti, this is funny to me, but you get to see our politics. Have I ever told you how bad TDS is here?
I know it's bad.
You have your people with TDS.
Our people with TDS gave a banker all power in the planet.
This is a guy, he has serious TDS.
Wow.
This is why this went on longer. Because he goes, Trump University. Trump is the devil. This is why I kept this.
Wow.
No one would believe me.
Now they do. Anyway, let's play more.
To complain about the fact that they were cheated out of thousands of dollars
No
for a
shit.
university that existed in name only, without a real curriculum, without real professors,
No
without
shit.
an actual campus, or
You're an
any
idiot.
way to keep their extravagant and seductive promises to their students. The thousands of outraged victims were not silent. They came forward to complain, and they won a $25 million settlement against Donald Trump and the purveyors of this fraud. One former instructor at Trump University said it, quote, preyed upon the elderly and uneducated to separate them from their money. Another former instructor said the institution was, quote,
Take
total
this all
lie.
with a grain of
That's
salt
what
and do your own research.
I take it like a grain of salt because the left likes to say if it's not educated, it's not valid. So the moment I see someone saying the uneducated from the get-go, I cross that. I say, you know what? You can have the most educated person in the room. And that most educated person doesn't have experience on the field. That most educated person heard an echo chamber. That most educated person was brainwashed and his brain was wired to think a certain way. So to be too educated sometimes have the backlash that you're disconnected from reality.
Yep. There's a lot of people. You'll find this. The thing is, Raskin knows he's a dishonest piece of shit. That's the worst part. There's 2 legendary senators. One's a congressman and the other one's a senator, I believe. That's what I remember. Adam Schiff and Raskin are both leading Democrats currently. Both rank like Adam Schiff. If I ever bring up a photo, what he looks like, I wouldn't trust him with my dog or a pet.
And again, I will reiterate what I said. I strongly believe a lot of people are being disconnected from reality by just hearing the same stuff over and over again. It's
No,
like
media bias, because
as well, yeah.
they don't
Yeah.
understand media. They're like, here's the thing: a lot of people don't understand media, and a lot of people you'll see they talk about Raskin, but when you go to listen to Raskin, I jokingly call him special ed. This man knows what he's doing. Unfortunately, some of his colleagues aren't as intelligent.
Why not surprised?
They're called useful idiots.
With the intelligence project,
where it remained for 8 or 9 years before this administration. There's nothing new about that work, but now Todd Blanchard in this way to stop hate crimes, but also incredible because the FBI itself uses the exact same practices for its own investigative work, spending traitors, the spies. Well,
There we are.
my friends, we know what a real fraud looks like. Consider a fraud called Trump University.
Oh,
A scam.
let me say this.
Why did we go back there?
Sorry, it's my bad. I clicked wrong. There's also this thing with the Trump phone recently that was proven to be a weird scam
To their students, the thousands of outraged
So,
victims were not
isn't like
silent. They came forward to complain, and they won a $25 million settlement against indictment. They've not lined up to file class action suits or to denounce the university. Said it, quote, preyed upon the
Here
elderly
we
and
are.
uneducated
Yes.
to separate them from their money. Another former instructor said the institution was, quote, a total lie. That's what real fraud looks like. What have SPLC's donors done in light of this criminal indictment? They've not lined up
They don't
to
know.
file class action suits or to denounce the SPLC. They continue to support the SPLC's works. Donations to the organization have gone up since this fraudulent indictment was brought down by the Trump administration. Well, the final complaint I've heard from members of this committee speaking on behalf.
Let me say this. You want to guess what? You know what's funny? Does anyone remember when Black Lives Matter was real? They said black people were being killed by cops. Guess what? A bunch of people donated to Black Lives Matter.
And it's
Oh.
funny because you also guys burned cities, so
Well, to be honest, white supremacists are bad, right? We all agree on that, yes?
yeah.
Uh,
Not everyone agrees that if you burn down a building for Floyd is
don't
wrong.
agree. There was about $2 billion in property damage from that, from Black Lives Matter burning down cities.
Yeah.
Do you know how many people were actually prosecuted there versus
January 6th.
Yeah, would you like to take a guess of the difference?
Nobody got persecuted
Very
for
few,
burning building,
but
and thousands of people got persecuted for
entering the
January
Capitol?
6th. Yeah.
Huh? Would you so Black Lives Matter and Antifa good? Everybody else bad? No.
Civil War looming incoming.
Maybe.
Of certain groups who take exception to being called hate groups by the SPLC. So they're mad
Hate groups
that certain
everywhere.
groups that they like are called hate groups. And I can appreciate why people don't want to be called a hate group. I don't
give a crap anymore. Call me whatever you want. Your opinion doesn't matter anymore because I realize you're an extremist if you call me an extremist. As simple as that.
About me and the groups that I like. Stephen Miller said, the Democrat Party is not a political party, it's a domestic extremist organization.
Oh, I like it. I agree.
The funny part about our politicians, this is where, like, you call Rubio, he had little hands Rubio and shit like that, is our politics, you think it's clean and they don't make fun of people. It happens all the time. The thing is, the problem is the Democrats have chased out almost all sensible people and embraced the Elon Omars of the world.
And
It's
you know
really
what?
bad.
You know what? With that mindset, I think you guys will keep Republican in power until the Democrats get their act together.
We hope, but you're still losing places like Seattle, like Oregon, Colorado. That's all still Democrat controlled. So we're
Wow.
stuck.
Well,
Stuck.
It happens, right? You cannot win everything.
I don't like that.
Oh,
Kristi
yeah.
Noem called Alex Preddy and Renee Good law-abiding citizens shot down by ICE domestic terrorists.
No,
Donald
no,
Trump.
no. Is that the chick that tried to like
That's
hit
the
some of the
shit.
ICE agents?
I'm gonna tell you this.
No,
This is multi for learning about this the first time.
no,
Welcome to our liberals. Welcome to.
no.
They called Alex Purdy a hero.
I don't
These
know
peop-
Alex Purdy, but like calling Rennie Good a
Okay,
good
Alex
citizen.
Purdy is the one who had the gun flash that got shot up after Renee Good. But apparently, Renee Good, according to these people, was not a paid protester.
Wow, no. So much brain rot. So much brain rot. I'm dying. Rennie Good, a good citizen. No. You know, based on what I heard, she didn't even have custody of her kid, and
No, her first husband. You want the truth? Her husband, ex-husband, killed him. She apparently they had divorce problems, custody issues. He wound up killing himself. She got custody. She had drug convictions as well, so she got custody of the kids because she was the sole survivor.
okay, wait. I will say this. Maybe that's why she's a standout citizen. Because for the left, you need to be damaged to be a good citizen.
And
You don't
here's the,
damage good, that's what you need to be.
and here's the funny.
You need to
thing.
shoot yourself, whatever.
And
bad.
here's the thing. No, she was living in Canada at the time when that happened. She bullied her husband effectively. He actually just killed
Wow.
himself. And then she got custody of the kids.
Wow.
So
Upstanding citizen.
then she was a semi-drug addict.
I want
barely-
my son to date that kind of lady.
Neglected her. She neglected her kids. And then moved in. Okay, I jokingly said this about the Renee Good case when it happened. I go, that looks like an angry lesbian. That turned out to be her wife, who had CPS called on them at one point because she used the kids as ashtrays.
Wow.
So,
what a stand-up citizen, folks.
I'm just telling you.
We need to replicate her, like, nationwide.
Yes.
Said that Democratic
Let's
donors
be
like George
Rennie
Soros
Good.
and Reid Hoffman were funding a conspiracy for domestic terrorists.
Wow.
See, it's
Under
always
our First
conspiracy
Amendment,
until proven
love
true.
and hate exist in the eye of the beholder. Donald Trump has repeatedly said that January 6th was a day of love when our police officers were bathed in hugs and kisses from the Proud Boys and the insurrectionists. For
That
most of us
was
who
a
lived through that
joke.
violent insurrection, it wasn't a day of love, it was a day of
Oh,
hatred.
there's a
and
whole
sickening
diatribe
violence.
on
And
that,
that's the great thing about the First
Multi.
Amendment. It's up to you. You can say whatever you want.
I hate
if you
that.
don't like the fact that
There's-
someone's called you a hate
We
group,
will be
then you
arguing
get
over
up
Jan
and then
6
you
till the
rebut them. You
fucking end
denounce
of
them.
time.
I've heard Chairman Jordan say it a dozen times in our hearings, and I agree.
You know what? Someone call me a group, I will laugh at them and say, look into the mirror, folks. This is
I'm
exactly
telling
what I will be
you,
saying.
I'm telling you, when I said these people believe January 6th, here's the fun fact. If I ever took people down the January 6th rabbit hole, you would probably never believe it. I have a clip and I could play it. It is the funny part. Remind me. It is literally a guy who was a glowy fed a day before, said, we're going to storm the Capitol. And there was a bunch of people with red microphones. Apparently, the FBI lost the list of their informants in the crowd at January 6th. And also, a lot of the people, Pelosi rescinded. She was asked, do you want National Guard at the Capitol? She had them stand down. Oh, no.
Oh, and by the way, Dragon, if I stop replying you, it's because I lost the internet because of the
I'll
government.
cover for you if you do. So here's the trick. Is this insane? They still quote
It is.
January 6th. But if we quote Charlottesville, which was a lie, We're extremists.
Extremists
Listen,
everywhere.
The proper response to speech you don't like is counter speech, not government prosecution, not
Except when
government
you're a proven
censorship.
liar, according to one
Counterpose
side.
honest speech to dishonest speech, the truth to the lies. Let the public figure it out. Whatever happened to I disagree with everything you say, but I will stand with my life for your right to say it. We need.
It's rich coming from the left.
This sounds good, okay? This
I
sounds
agree with
good.
it, but I know he doesn't believe in that because he's a leftist. Leftists don't believe this crap. Not
Look,
anymore, at least.
this sounds so
vendetta.
good till you look into it.
Until you look at the guy that says it. speech that's hate speech this, hate speech that.
And more Voltaire. All of this is a disgrace. When DOJ was founded in 1870, 156 years ago, it was to protect the newly freed African Americans against the Ku Klux Klan, which was rampaging violence throughout the South. Todd Blanche has capsized.
Multi, I'm going to give you a pop quiz because you're going to learn about this later when we get to part 2 of this with the question. Guess what party the first members of the Ku Klux Klan were?
Democrats.
Uh-huh.
I heard it.
Free.
I
You've
was
heard
like,
it?
what is going on here? I was like, bruh, no.
Who passed Jim Crow laws? Democrats. I would like for people.
How much things changed for like 70 years?
Just.
It's fascinating.
It's
fascinating.
I know I'm going to sound weird when I say this. If you ever hear usually conservatives or Republicans say they want black people, every time you hear a Democrat say, vote for us because you're not black enough, you might want to question. See, the Democrats, it's not saying black conservatives exist. The Democrats...
To be honest, I think conservative has a very bad label toward blacks. And
They do. It's very
I think
bad.
most of the blacks vote liberal simply because they think the conservative are racist.
It's a conditional voting.
Yeah.
It's one of those like,
and it's sad because deep down I know a lot of them for being in that community. I know a lot of them that are actually right or far right.
You have it, but
like a lot of them are deep Christian. Like they cannot stand LGBTQ plus.
Oh, I will say this before we move on. Like the fun fact about a lot of black people, you know, when Section 9 or whatever was voted for against gay marriage in California years ago, guess what groups largely voted against it?
Blacks
and Latinos.
Well, I'm not surprised.
And then they said they're overwhelmingly liberal.
I don't really know.
They voted for it against
I don't
gay
know
marriage.
the Latinos that much, but I know the blacks are like that. And you know, I will share a bit of story. Like the other day, I was with I can't remember the exact word in English, but that's basically someone to make official my marriage with my wife. And I was having that meeting.
No, you're dealing with more Africans than actual blacks that have been.
But let me continue. So that person, I can't remember the exact title that person has, but that was to make official my wedding. So my wife become officially full-fledged Canadian citizen. And I had a talk with that guy in the meantime because like we socialize and all, and he was a black guy. And we talked about what was going on in Canada. And there's a lot of things I told him that he didn't know because he was only watching the mainstream. And by talking to him, I realized that was a liberal voter that was misinformed. Because when I told him what the liberals were doing, he was like, that's crazy, that's nuts, I believe you, but I didn't realize I was voting for that crap. And I told him, yeah, that's why people should be better informed on who they should vote for. Because a lot of the things that go down the pipeline, they're like, that shouldn't be like that. And again, he was the default voter for the liberals, but he didn't really know what he was voting for. And what I was telling him is a lot of the platform from the conservative, and he was like, that sounds space, that sounds good. And I told him, that's coming from the other side you didn't vote for. And it was like, wow, now I will reflect and think. And this is what I really love about the African and the blacks, because when you talk to them, they're not as brainwashed. Like they they just don't know better. That's the sad part. It's new to them, and it's just social conditioning. It's not necessarily like the brainwash through the schools or the brainwash through the media. It's more like my friend is like that, therefore I will be like that.
Here's where
And
I'll say it's a little bit different because
and,
you have
and
the case like Carmelo Anthony in Frisco. The interesting part about Carmelo Anthony is he grew up in a very rich suburb, but he had the fear of a white person enough to carry a knife at a track meet.
and that's because of maybe some of his friends had bad experience with the whites.
Or TikTok.
Yeah.
Kids social media.
And I think one of the big issue is TikTok. So much poison there,
TikTok,
but
social media.
they spend a lot of time on TikTok, and that's why they have these misconceptions. But when you really talk to them and you break down the stuff, they are very smart. They are bright, and they understand. They're like, wow, thank you for informing me.
They also have the confirmation bias of a giant elephant.
Yeah. But
Learned.
again, I think the blacks, they're very smart, but they're misinformed. And they're a big voting bloc for the liberals. And that's sad because it's not a true voting bloc, because they don't truly believe in everything the liberals stand for. They may stand by some of it, but again, I said it, I'm in the African community and they're right leaning. Like my wife is further right than me. The only stand she's not that right leaning is abortion, and it's mostly because I mean in Africa there's a lot of country that experience essay and really disgusting stuff, and
Yes.
just because of that, that traits in them the fear that they may have a wrong pregnancy, and they want to escape it, But overall, dude, she is like far right, man.
Oh yeah, no one disagrees with that. But I will say this: people do not understand. There is a difference between an African and a black. This is why every time when you hear a Democrat cite, and if you hear this during this stuff, that they cite the FBI crime statistics, they think Asians are white people. They think light-skinned Hispanics are white people. That's
and
how
and
they.
and I will also add this: the most fascinating part is, despite being far right, my wife is actually very um like, in a way, she is from the old days, like feminist in some ways. Like she believes in equality, but actual equality, not like the BS that we need to do more to be equals, or like she is still at the stage that she likes men and women have the same opportunity, but she doesn't want women to act like men. So it's like first or second wave feminism, and that's why it's fascinating, because she's far right leaning, but on like the feminist spectrum, she's still there. She's still a feminist, but like from the old days. So it gives something very unique. Just wanted to say that it's so lovely. I love that aspect of her. She is so smart. I If more leftists were like her, I think people would be smarter overall. I just think the far left really took over, and there's so much brain rot that came with it. It's so sad.
You
So
see,
sad.
you're in Canada. I'm in the U.S. I mean, largely, we have a very normal crowd here in North Central Texas. That's what I thought was about. I was going to almost show you the Carmelo Anthony coverage. The
I've
funny
heard about
thing,
it.
whatever you heard nationally wasn't true local. They wanted race riots. they didn't get it.
Wow, okay, I'm not surprised. Anyway,
is-
let's play more.
Yes.
DOJ's commitment to the rights of all and disgraced the department. He has directed DOJ to savage the SPLC while he does everything in his power with the president to aid and abet the right-wing extremists who commit acts of violence against racial minorities. Just 2 weeks after becoming acting AG, he moved to vacate the criminal convictions of the leaders of the Proud Boys and Oath Keepers for seditious conspiracy. They were convicted and sentenced to jail for many, many years.
You think I was lying when I said they said January 6th is the worst day since the Civil War? It's worse than the Civil War.
Even pardon them when he was pardoning en masse more than 1,600 other cop-beating, racist January 6th rioters and insurrectionists. These are the people that the DOJ now protects. And now, Todd Blanche wants to create a $1.776 billion taxpayer-funded slush fund to turn the January 6th foot soldiers into mega millionaires. And while Blanche...
Let me fill you in, Multi, on that mountain of garbage he just said. So Trump pardoned a lot of... So people don't understand. Trump pardoned a lot of January 6 people convicted because there was various evidence or somewhere that. But like every movement, there's always extremists. All right. Proud Boys, Gavin McGinnis, I've known of the man for years. The funny part is, January 6th is worse than Pearl Harbor to these people. Yet October 7th is a revealing day that the U.S. was controlled by Israel. Now, if that sounds fucked up, that's because it's upside down. They believe that the Proud Boys and some of these people, they'll cherry pick these people who were forced to take plea deals. They were forced to take plea deals because the federal government was threatening them with long charges, long time in prisons and charges. So they took plea deals. Other people down the pike that fought their charges got off better, but some just plead so they wouldn't get harsh prison sentences.
That's interesting.
But once you take that plea deal, you can't. Now that 1.8 billion slush fund, it's not a slush fund. Trump got that back in a tax return. There was fraudulent stuff on the tax returns. He was going to use that as a defense fund for anybody prosecuted under Biden.
Wow.
Now, Gavin Newsom, there's a story, I guess next time I'll show it. People, every time you hear about that so-called slush fund, that's Raskin's phrase. It's one of his keywords that he got spread around. Now, it was Democrats in California. Gavin Newsom wants 100% tax on whoever gets that money. Yes, Multi, you heard it. Gavin Newsom. Yeah, that's like a revenge law. They hate Trump that much.
That's interesting. Wow. Okay.
Was at it, he signed an outrageous super pardon to give not just Donald Trump, but his entire...
Oh, by the way, presidents pardon a bunch of people.
It happens all the time, I believe.
It happens all the time. So, what's new?
It's Trump.
It's not just Trump. It's different with Trump. Yeah, he's pardoned a couple of crypto billionaires. I pulled some stories. I'm like, okay, that's a little sus pardon. But I'm like, that's no different than anybody else.
Because it's Trump, it's wrong. Okay,
It's
you
because
just don't
it's
get
Trump,
it.
it's wrong.
Their family and all their businesses complete and total immunity from any investigation, audit, lawsuit, or prosecution by any federal agency for any criminal or civil violation against the United
Until they recommit crimes, which is
Until
happening.
the Democrats are back in power.
No, actually, there's been some people pardoned by January. They were pardoned for the January 6th stuff that went on to commit other crimes. They go, don't you see? These people are bad.
States up until this point. And while systematically firing prosecutors and FBI agents who worked on the January
Who were weaponized to target Trump.
So, rule for you, not for me.
Rules for thee, not for me.
6 investigation, the largest criminal probe in American history, Trump and Blanche are putting January 6 rioters, violent extremists, and their closest allies in key positions throughout the DOJ.
That's funny. Dragon, you still here? I guess the dragon, something happened to the dragon.
Like Jared Wise, who urged rioters to kill police officers on January 6th. Like Ed Martin, who defended violent cop beaters, both as a defense attorney and a federal prosecutor. He's been given free rein now as DOJ's pardon attorney, despite his long history of consorting with neo-Nazis. Donald Trump nominated Paul Ingrassia, 3 years out of law school, to run the ethics watchdog Office of the Special Counsel, and stood by him after it was revealed that he admitted to having, quote, a bit of a Nazi streak in him. And he wrote that the Martin Luther King holiday should be tossed into the 7th circle of hell. The Department of Defense hired Elias Irizarry, an unqualified...
So about these things, I have no idea if it's a lie or not. I will assume it's a lie, because that guy exaggerate and antagonize so much Trump. So assume the worst. This is what happens when you have bad behavior, my friend. So let's continue. I think something happened to Dragon, that's why he doesn't
experienced
reply anymore.
24-year-old Trump loyalist and convicted J6 rioter who was pardoned by the president to work on irregular warfare and counterterrorism, and so on.
Antifa is a terror organization, folks.
The extremist swamp that gave rise to this criminal indictment.
Okay, let me say this.
Oh, Dragon's back.
The funny, sorry, it's like, so when they talk about putting activists who basically cause problems and bomb stuff, one of the heroes for like one of Obama's teachers and one of the people who the Democrats used to love were the activists who blew things up in the 70s and the Weather Underground. People who were radicals who went around attacking people. They put them into positions of power.
Wow.
And you
what a great example.
So now I will say Trump doesn't always put the best people into the positions of the jobs. Like I said about Pam Bondi.
That's happened a lot in politics in general.
Pam Bondi was not the smartest AG. I mean, I hate to quote it, the binders of Epstein documents that's all on my desk. Yeah, there's a reason she kind of got kicked out the door by Trump and other people. She was a very terrible AG to even conservatives.
At least we got Vance and effing Rubio.
I don't know.
I like them.
You got these people who, I'm going to be honest, there's a lot of people that, yeah, Trump's been going to more loyalists this time around, but some are sus, but they're okay. But a lot of Democrats have this weird derangement about it would be okay if it was their people, but it's not their people. Like they tried to impeach Pete Hegseth. They tried to say Tulsi Gabbard left. But it's Tulsi Gabbard was a Democrat before she was worked with Trump. So
I see.
now, if you're wondering about a lot of these appointments where there's
If
maybe
she's a Democrat, that means he's more center right than far right. Otherwise, we won't be able
so
to bring some
here's one
Democrats.
of the big deals. You try to promote the best people to the job,
Yeah.
but Trump didn't
Except
always.
if you're in Canada, you promote
Trump
the
did
worst.
not always put forth the best nominees. So you've got to understand some of these nominees are not the shining beacons on the
Indictment against the
hill.
SPLC is just one more Orwellian attack on the civil rights movement and one more Kafka.
Oh, fun fact. He'll use terms that are really funny, but you can apply it to liberals. Orwellian is more of the modern liberal and progressive ideology.
Yeah.
Esque prosecution designed to shame and ensnare the righteous and acquit and absolve the guilty. It is a tissue
They were trying to do lawfare against Trump. So remember that.
of lies that will join the pantheon of debunked fraudulent prosecutions that DOJ has been excoriated for by dozens of judges across the land, appointed by all different presidents.
I'll
10 weeks
explain
ago, a
this a
federal
little
judge
bit for
in Rhode Island, Judge
explaining this.
McElroy, called the government's submissions in a case misleading, if not utterly false. Another judge said that DOJ attorneys had submitted a patently false allegation to the court. Another judge rejected administration officials' testimony as disingenuous, squalid, and dishonorable. And another court found the administration had provided a highly misleading, if not intentionally false, sworn declaration so disingenuous that the court is left with little confidence that the United States can be trusted to tell the truth about anything.
There's
Here-
a guy that's far left that will
Here's the problem with
say
this.
BS.
Here's the problem. The issue is conservative judges were blocking Trump's orders because Trump wanted to repeal and block birthright citizenship. He wanted to do things that were unconstitutional. Even conservative judges blocked it.
Well, I like that.
You got these people, but these Democrats will say it was because Trump was a proven person. But when it's a liberal court that notoriously does, like a lot of the case against like a teacher James, which they'll cite later on as prosecution, like I think I left that out of one of them, was because of the district it was in. But there wasn't enough evidence to prove she did wrongdoing, just suspect.
Wow.
So you're talking about it's slightly suspect, right? But let's say hypothetically, they will say this isn't true.
It will not be long before another federal judge casts this obscene prosecution to the winds. I'm only sorry the great name of the House Judiciary Committee has now been made an accomplice to this fraud against the court and the country. I yield back to you, Mr. Chairman.
So I guess that was the end of the first clip we covered tonight. So let's go into the second clip.
Against SPLC, which is being ably defended in court. But the targeting of the organization harkens the very danger Justice Jackson warned about. That law enforcement
Previously, I don't think we're
Okay, let me say what this part is. This part is the second part. So after the opening statements commence, the witnesses are sworn in. I'm pretty sure you got something in Canada similar. And they give a written statement to the court, or to the, not court, but to the committee. This is the verbal statement.
Yeah, we have the same.
So, the reason I left this is because each of these members, there's difference. It tells you who they are, what their education is, why they're there. So, You're good.
Okay,
Right.
let's
Policy
get
Institute
into
chair.
it.
I don't think we're part of the fraud. I think the Southern Poverty Law Center was defrauding their donors without objection.
Oh, I want you to catch that. This was after. Okay, go back, and I want you to listen to this. I was going to cut this out. This was Jim Jordan chiding Raskin after.
I don't think we're part of the fraud. I think the Southern Poverty Law Center was defrauding their donors without objection. All of their opening statements will be included in the record.
It's the most
Today's
passive-aggressive
witnesses.
thing
Dr.
ever.
Alveda King is the chair of the American Dream Initiative at the American First Policy Institute. She is the daughter of civil rights activist Reverend A.D. King and the niece of Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King, Jr. She is the founder of Speak for Life, an organization that advocates for the sanctity and dignity of human life. Mr. Brian Fair is the interim CEO and president of the Southern Poverty Law Center. He previously served as the chairman of SPLC's board of directors. Mr. Ryan Bangert is the senior vice president for strategic initiative.
It's funny how he's called Mr. Fair.
I want you. Did you catch in the beginning of that where he, after that whole diatribe and vomit that his colleague did, he basically said, yeah, they were probably defrauding their people and donors.
I didn't see that, no.
It's in the beginning.
Yeah, I know.
You'll have to go back and listen. It is so subtle because Jim Jordan, basically it's a snide remark. By the way, I want people to know, if you do not know who Alveda King is, she is the niece of Martin Luther King, Jr.
Interesting.
There is a person that you'll see later on, Jasmine Crockett, who is the congresswoman from Dallas, said she was a bastard of Martin Luther King and not a real related.
At the Alliance Defending Freedom, he previously served in the office of the Texas Attorney General and was a litigation partner at Baker Botts LLP. And Professor Mary McCord is a visiting professor of law at the Georgetown University Law Center. She previously served in numerous roles in the Department of Justice. We welcome our witnesses and thank them for appearing today. We'll begin by swearing you in.
Okay, I'll already call it out. That's a professor and that's a lady. So I will be sexist and I will say she's a progressive.
You are correct. It gets a little bit better, though. It gets a little bit better. She's a historical person.
Oh, so
you
one
might,
of these useless degrees
she's a historical professor
now.
in the history. Yeah,
so one of these useless degrees will be useful for once. Amazing.
No, she actually is an older woman. Like, she's a tenured college professor working. You'll see her.
It's like it's Mardal on her forefront, you know. I've read it. I know it.
You know how this works. Would you please rise and raise your right hand?
That's where I said I'd take out the swearing.
Good morning, Chairman Jordan, Ranking Member Raskin, members of the committee. Last July,
I want you to listen to these words very carefully, some of the language he uses.
Is he another progressive?
Listen, just listen to the terms. I want to see if you catch them. Bear in mind, he has probably been with the SPLC for a while, but he was a person brought in, so he's probably in his 40s. But listen to the terminology he uses.
He will pretend to be smart.
From teaching to become the interim head of the Southern Poverty Law Center. So my testimony today will be one of my last official acts in this role. It has been one of the greatest honors of my life to work alongside the talented, dedicated, and principled SPLC staff. For 55 years, with the support of generous donors who appreciate our work, the SPLC has fought racial terror, white supremacy,
Partly
and other
true.
forms of discrimination and hate, seeking to build and defend a multiracial democracy where we can all live and thrive. That was the goal of the civil rights movement, and it is our mission. We are known for exposing and dismantling extremist hate groups. We took on the United Klans of America, whose hateful violence.
Let me preference this.
Hateful and violent.
Let me preference this.
Progressive, folks.
Let me preference this. He thinks it's part of the same organization that dismantled the Klan 20 years ago.
Wow.
No, it is not.
That's hilarious.
Killed 4 little girls in the 16th Street Baptist Church bombing, and we sued them out of existence.
Okay.
In the
good.
decades since, hate has continued, but so have our efforts to expose it.
What about Kirk getting shot? What about Trump attempt on his life? Like, you know, like the 2 attempts on Trump life, like recently, like
Now, just let this play out. The thing about this is, I'm going to tell
people,
you.
folks, people,
I'm going
they
to
have
tell
short
you.
memory.
Okay, here's the thing. Do you remember when Jim Jordan said when he talked to Rahm Emanuel, and Rahm Emanuel was a fan of Saul Alinsky, who said never let a good crisis go to waste? That's a
That
famous.
sounds like a liberal.
That's a guy. He was a progressive activist.
Amazing.
He said never let it. They would not only have let that happen, not to waste a good crisis, they've gone to create other crises.
Okay.
Through litigation, policy, research, and education. We fight for the underdog, the poor, the unhoused.
Sounds good.
That sounds good, but bro, Rennie Good isn't one of these. I'm sorry, folks, but like,
I want you to understand.
I-
You missed the term. I was waiting. Did you hear that term for the homeless?
They don't fight for the homeless. They create more homeless.
No. Did you hear it? The unhoused. That's what the liberals call the homeless.
Wow.
I told you. Listen for the language.
It's crazy. You know what's going on? One of the several factors of the housing crisis. You know what it is? It's immigration. It's immigration. It's not the only reason. There are like lots of
You're
them.
in Canada versus the U.S., though.
Yeah. Maybe U.S. is its cost of life. I don't know, but like, yeah. Let's play more.
The hungry, the incarcerated, the disenfranchised, the
The incarcerated. I'm sure in his mind it's like the black guy that's in jail for molesting someone, but because he's black, he
Or
shouldn't be
committed a
there.
crime, yes, possibly.
Or like, oh, the poor Muslim that went after 13 years old. You know.
No, that doesn't happen here as much. What happens to a lot of ours is because we have the Nation of Islam blacks, which are one of the largest growing religions in the U.S. So, fun fact.
Fascinating.
the outcast, the vilified. Many groups
Just
and
let
some in this
play out.
room
It's
have
gonna get
misrepresented
very
our
self-righteous.
work, including our confidential informant program, repeating various false allegations. Some say we've lost our
That's politics. Everyone on that damn aisle does the same. Even journalists that don't want some truth or some version of the truth, they will do the exact same. Everyone misinformed. Everyone lies. That's life. Get used to it.
way. That's false. We've never lost our North Star, a fair and just society for every person. All our programs advance that mission. Our work saves lives.
Until it doesn't.
But it comes at a price.
Until
Since
someone
our
does
earliest
something in
days,
your
we've been
name.
targeted by those who oppose our mission. Our office was firebombed. Our staff threatened.
But you
Our
weren't
leaders,
there.
the target of assassination. We know political violence. We unequivocally condemn it.
The right as well knows it.
However, despite the danger, we will not.
Let's play out.
You know what I always say? The USA was created through blood. So I think it's in your nature to be violent. I'm sorry, folks. Like, I
We were
love
founded in revolution. It's like Texas.
Yeah.
Texas was founded in revolution.
I respect that a lot, you know, and that's
actually why Texas is. Fun fact: Texas is one of the very few states, even the post-Civil War, it's an agreement between two nations.
And I will also say this: even if sometimes I'm worried about you guys turning like Canada, I feel like if that ever happens, the right will actually take the weapons and try to take the country back.
Mm-hmm.
even if sometimes I'm worried, I feel like deep down USA loves too much their freedom, and like they will fight for it to the teeth. I
Silent
think that's in
majority.
your DNA.
Silent majority is what you're thinking of.
Yeah. I think that's in your DNA to fight for freedom.
Stop exposing hate. This morning, we released our annual Year in Hate and Extremism report. It chronicles how the hard right has weaponized the levers of government to weaken the political
So the
and
left as
economic
well.
power of non-whites, immigrants, women,
But it's the hard
the
right that did
LGBTQ plus
it.
community, religious minorities, and the poor. The forces turning back hard-won progress against discrimination are unrelenting and unashamed. The SPLC, alongside many civil rights groups and democracy defenders, is resisting them. To American people of goodwill, especially those left out of the American promise, your civic participation matters now more than any time since the civil rights movement. Today, I'm joined by several people who inspire our work. First, Ms. Karen Finn and her son Aaron are here. Aaron faced expulsion from school for alleged conduct that was a manifestation of his disability.
He's
Aaron lives
autistic.
with autism, and
Okay.
federal law prohibits schools from excluding students for behaviors connected to their disabilities. We
There's
sued
programs for
with
this.
his mother's courage and dedication and his perseverance. Aaron graduated from that school in 2023. Ms. Tanya Gersh is also here. A Jewish Montana mom, Gersh and her family became the target of relentless anti-Semitic harassment from white nationalists, including threatening phone calls.
This is
all that
disgusting.
could be heard on the line was gunshots.
And if this is true, like, let's condemn it all day. You know what? If this is
That's
true,
disgusting.
it's not acceptable. I think it's no longer the 40s, and that shouldn't be that way. So again, on this I agree. If it's true, if it really happens, you should actually jail someone that does that, because you actually threaten like the life of someone, and you overstep your boundaries and that kind of stuff. So
Yeah, they have this weird idea that conservatives would oppose this.
I don't like
No,
if it's proven true, and if it's not a made up story to make the right look bad, like
I don't.
prosecute, jail.
The profound hatred of one color by anything. I don't care if you're black, brown, or blue. Let's say you're an Asian person who hates white people. You're very wrong.
Yeah, I
Racism,
agree.
and it doesn't, like, if it goes to the point. This is why it's really funny that the left in various Democrats after October 7th went full anti-Semite and anti-Zionist. You'll hear it because they were already borderline anti-Semitic anyway. It went mask off, and the Democrats are suffering now. They have a lot of people. They're like Hassan Piker. They believe Jews control everything. We call that anti-Semitism.
And I say this actually racist to think that way.
Oh, it's worse. People think there are actual Democrats that believe the state of Israel controls Trump. They
don't
were
think it's
running
true, but hey.
around. There was something I cut from here that they said, "Oh, Trump's controlled by foreign powers."
Biden wasn't. Like, it wasn't even all there. It's hilarious. Rule for you, not for me.
With the center's help, Gersh won a $14 million judgment against the neo-Nazi who incited her harassers. We
As you
stand
should.
with Karen, Aaron, Tanya, and thousands we protect every day. Fannie Lou Hamer said, "Nobody's free until everybody's free." The
I
SPLC
do
will
agree with that.
continue our constitutionally
You see, I do agree with that. It's a nice concept. It's just baffling all the left brings that.
They just reverse it. That's the problem.
Yeah.
They just perverse it.
work to
That's
ensure
all.
everyone in this country is treated with dignity, lives lives free of discrimination, and enjoys liberty.
But yet they are for equity, folks. Equity is a form of discrimination. Because
No,
Because you go
Equity,
after the
no.
privileged
They
one.
bring up, what's funny is they bring up DEI and CRT programs in the questionnaire, and I want you to see how the Democrats and they react. Because in one of this, Avita King brings up a bunch of liberal hypocrisy with wanting DEI and CRT. Yes.
Let's play
and
more.
opportunity to thrive.
Yes.
These promises of our democracy are not self-executing. They require our collective vigilance.
They
We will
require,
continue
yes.
to
I'm
defend
good.
them when they come under attack. Finally, I must note that I'm constrained in answering some questions today because they may touch on matters involving pending criminal litigation against the SPLC or conversations that I've had with
By the
counsel.
way, that's code. I ain't
Frankly,
gonna
this
answer
constraint is the
shit.
result of the majority's
It's funny. He is a pure progressive here.
Okay, I want you to
Rejecting
no.
itself.
I'm gonna tell you what's gonna probably piss you off to high hell. And I knew what was coming because once he said this, right? I knew what was coming. He'll answer questions from the Democrats. But when it's Republicans asking about something related to the case,
He won't
no,
answer.
no, it's going to come out because there's an indictment.
Wow.
I'm going to tell you, it's going to be funny. I had to edit this.
Into a pending criminal
Well, let's
matter
go.
3 days after it was filed, and then refusing our request to delay this hearing until that case is resolved. With that, I will answer what I can.
Thank you, Mr. Fair. I would just point out this committee has had hearings on the activities of the SPLC prior to the indictment from the Justice Department.
So you're a
Thank you
liar.
for your statement. Dr. King, you are now recognized for 5 minutes.
Mr. Chairman, ranking member, and distinguished members of the committee, thank you for allowing me to testify today.
I have the feeling that she is one of these DEI chick for the Democrats.
No, she's not.
Oh, she's a Republican?
That is Elvita King, who's the granddaughter. She is the niece of Martin Luther King. That
Oh, my bias came here.
you
That's
don't
funny.
know. I know who she is.
Interesting.
So, would you like to take a guess from the other? So she is she'll even admit that the whole thing I'm going to tell you is she is the daughter of Martin Luther King's brother. So, one of the other Democrats that you'll see later on, Jasmine Crockett, said she was a bastard of Martin Luther King.
Wow.
Oh, you will not. There's a part. There's questions. So she is a very known woman in circles. She's a Christian. So you need to understand. So you're a little dead wrong. She's not a horrible person. That's Elvita King. That's the one I was mentioning before.
I was born on January 22nd, 1951, not with a silver spoon in my mouth, but singing Amazing Grace and pledging allegiance to the flag of the United States of America. In other words, I was born into a Christian family led by Baptist preachers and men and women who loved God, believed in God, proclaimed the gospel of Jesus Christ, and embraced the truth found in Acts 17:26. And of one blood, God made every nation of people to dwell on the face of the earth. I was taught from birth to love, to repent, to forgive, to trust God, and to love my fellow brothers and sisters. Human dignity is a creed of our family, the King family legacy. My uncle, Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., did not dedicate his life to dividing people into categories of oppressor and oppressed. He dedicated his life to bringing people together under the truth that every person bears the image of God. I come before you today not in anger, but in deep concern. I am not sure anyone can fully grasp the emotions of a young girl who grew up in a family that sacrificed so much for justice and reconciliation, only to spend much of her adult life being watched, shadowed, criticized, and even threatened because she believes in God, in Jesus Christ, in the
I'll explain
sanctity of
this moment.
life, and in the American dream. My family legacy reflects the very truth that America is strongest when we recognize our common humanity. My grandmother's family came from the west coast of Africa. My grandfather's family came from Ireland. My mother's family included Cherokee roots. I have spent my entire life living the reality that America is not a collection of competing tribes. America is one people under God. That is why I am troubled by the conduct and messaging of organizations that claim to fight hatred while profiteering from division.
I arrive at the right moment. I love that.
I'm going to
She is
explain
so
to you.
based.
Here's the thing about her, and this is what you don't understand. There's a lot of Democrats. Like, that's why what's funny, Jasmine Crockett said she's a bastard of Martin Luther King. A lot of Democrats will say they do the name in the name of Martin Luther King, but they don't understand it. She has practiced this for years.
She is so based,
She's
I like it.
75.
She's smart, man. More voice like that, please.
She's been around a while. Sorry.
Allegations reportedly contained in a federal superseding indictment raise serious questions about the Southern Poverty Law Center's activities. Individuals associated with organizations the SPLC itself labeled as extremists or hate groups allegedly received substantial payments over many years. The indictment shares of payments totaling hundreds of thousands and in some cases more than $1 million to sources connected to white supremacist, neo-Nazi, and Ku Klux Klan organizations. Those allegations deserve careful examination. They reveal a troubling contradiction. Americans who faithfully donate their hard-earned money, many of them senior citizens like me, who sincerely want to combat racism and hatred, deserve transparency and accountability about how those funds are being used. America does not need more manufactured racial tension. We do need more labels with the sole and do not need more labels with the sole intention to drive us apart. We do not need more lists that place citizens under suspicion because they hold sincere beliefs about faith, family, life, or public policy. I know myself about being labeled. Let me be clear. I reject racism. I reject hatred. I reject white supremacy. I reject any ideology that seeks to elevate one group of people above another. But I also
It's so based. Common sense comes back.
You have.
I love it.
She's been around a while.
Look,
But now largely in an American.
she's smart.
She's more of an American-like person, but she's been around a while. She's not, quote unquote, I pardon my French. She's not one of the DNC plantation blacks which vote black all the time. She's lived through Selma. She's lived through it. The civil rights.
I wish more people
She
were like her.
actually is a very rare breed of she's one of but she was on the younger side in the civil rights era. So you got to understand that a lot of the problem is, and I know, pardon my French, multi, a lot of the Democrats like their blacks to live on a plantation. I know this sounds bad.
I know, but I know it's also true.
But if you stray from it, you're not real black. Because Biden did say in a slip up, you're not a real black person if you vote for Donald Trump.
That's hilarious.
also reject the notion that Americans who hold traditional Christian beliefs should be treated as threats or terrorists simply because we disagree with a prevailing
But again, she's so based, but like the left likes the Muslims so much. That's why they have hatred for competition.
No, they hate the West. They hate the West.
Political thought.
They ally with the
Today,
Muslims.
I still have a dream. I dream that one day we will move beyond black power and white power and embrace God's power and human dignity.
I love it. I love it. I'm not Christian, okay, but what she is saying resonate with me.
Mhm.
She is based like so far. She
Yep.
is the only one we heard about that. I strongly believe like she hits some truth there.
Oh, there's a lot more people like her. You just don't hear them that often.
See, it's wow, respect. Really, I love that. But you see, what she said right now could be deemed effing hate speech.
It's really weird. It's really weird that of the two civil rights leader, most black organizations have bastardized over the years. People have forgotten really what Martin Luther King stood for, despite his massive amounts of adultery, which he
And
did do.
when we look at the people in the background, the chick that smiles is actually on board with that, and she's probably a Republican. But while the Democrat is like looking down, she's pissed. We also got the Indian one on the far left that doesn't give a crap about being there.
I will say this: to be in a chamber, you actually have to be in a suit or dress uniform.
Fascinating.
That's
I like
actually
that.
for a lot of these. Most people can just come in here and sit in these unless there's seats. So, but you got to be dressed up properly.
It's similar. It's similar to our parliament. Very similar.
You can't be.
Except us, it's not necessarily the committee. It's more like the you know where question period happens. There's like a second floor, and people can go on the second
Well,
floor.
there's a public section for
Yeah.
our Congress and our Senate up above.
Yeah,
You could sit up there, right?
the same in Canada.
During formal stuff, you got to be dressed semi-formal.
Yeah.
That Americans will one day see each other not as enemies, but as neighbors. I dream that we will hear each other, see each other, and recognize that every human life has value from the womb to the tomb and
I
beyond.
agree.
We are, as scripture teaches, as science testified, one blood, one human race. And if we remember that truth, we can build a future worthy of the sacrifices made by those who came before us. We must speak out for truth and against the forces that would manufacture hate, fear, division, and violence simply to line their pockets and further
Love
their
that.
political ambitions. Thank you. God bless America, and I look forward to your questions. Thank you so much. God bless you.
Thank you. God bless you. Well done. Mr. Banger, you're recognized for 5 minutes.
Thank you, Chairman Jordan, Ranking Member Raskin, and members of the committee, for the opportunity to testify before you today. Over 50 years ago, the SPLC was founded to fight the scourge of racism, but the SPLC has drifted from that founding purpose. The indictment alleges that the SPLC deceived donors into funding the racist groups it claimed to fight. But beyond these shocking allegations of hypocrisy lies a broader story: how the SPLC tarred mainstream conservative organizations as hate groups, and then relentlessly sought to silence those groups by persuading America's leading financial and technology firms to exclude them from the marketplace.
Well, I hear that, and I feel like it sounds
Do
based.
you remember the Twitter files that I told you about?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I will ask you this. Like so far, we are like almost a minute into his testimony, or his starting sentence. Is he like one of these Republican leaning folks?
He's conservative, yes.
So you see, I like that. You know, it's so fair. It's fair because I think we got like too progressive, and now we got too Republican.
I'm familiar with a lot of these people because they make the tour circuit of television.
I think that kind of committee right now is shining so far because you got fair and balanced voices. I love it.
I know a lot of these people because I watch news or watch sources. So,
but again, I love it. What I see right now is democracy in full display. You got these left leaning and these right leaning in the same room, talking and sharing. I love that. The more I hear about that meeting right now, the more I fall in love with you guys, your system. your system just seems so far better than whatever Canada has been doing for like 200 years. I love it.
Our system when it's good.
ADF is one of those organizations. We've been on the SPLC's hate map since 2016, which is odd, given that we reject racism. Our Christian faith teaches that all are created equal.
Are you sure, bigot?
And all are made
Are
in the
you
image of
sure?
God. But
Far
it makes
right.
sense when you understand
right.
today's SPLC
He's white.
in the words
He's
of
a
some
white
as a
supremacist.
political hit operation. The SPLC has branded ADF and others like us as hate groups solely because it disagrees with our work, grounded in our religious conviction on behalf of children told by the medical establishment to disfigure and permanently mutilate their bodies, on behalf of the most vulnerable among us, both those
Because, okay, this is what I really wished I heard in this hearing, but it never gets through. What is the SPLC? Did you know why a lot of Christian organizations are on the hate group list? Would you like to guess why?
I don't know.
Because they are pro-life. They also oppose people being gay and mutilating their bodies because it's religious belief.
That's
But they don't,
interesting.
because it's a cultural aspect. They don't believe in it's not that they say trans people can't exist. They just don't believe it should be socially promoted, right?
I think the point of view, based on my understanding of Christian, is God loves you the way you are, therefore you should love yourself the way you are. I might be wrong on that, but
It's
I think
kind of
that's the thing.
weird, but they also view homosexuality as a sin.
Yeah, but again, I think that the trans thing is more like you should accept yourself. But again, I do agree with that. I think the message is really good, but I don't necessarily agree because I think there's truly body dysmorphia, but we can have a very
Well, I would
nuanced
say,
discussion on that.
okay, you actually have people who are GID or GDI, which are actually trans. Then you got the people who just LARP as trans. And it's not that the people have an issue with the LGBT. People have an issue with a QIA plus.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah. And again, like, I think there's generally some trends, but unfortunately there's also a big push from doctors, from predators in general, to like transition anyone because it's a market, because we went too far, because of this, because of that.
Actually, the fun little fact is why a lot of Christian organizations started getting involved. So there's been this big shift in the US. Probably why you see a lot of Christian organizations oppose LGBT stuff. It's because the fact that they teach sexual education and sexual identity before teaching 1, 2, 3s and ABCs.
Yeah.
So I know it sounds like they go, oh, it's not real. It's happened in schools.
Well, it's like that in Canada, so I'm not surprised it's like that.
In the US, there's a lot of teachers. So it's not like you can't socially train. There are cases of extreme GDI in kids that it's so bad, a 5-year-old that's been raised as a boy tries to cut off their private parts thinking they're a girl. They're like, oh, that's nothing. The parents go. They come to find out they've raised a child as a boy, but at like 5 or 6, the child's brain is female.
Yeah.
Now, that's the weird cases on the extreme side, right?
Yeah.
But that's not always the case. Then you got a lot of people that are autistic who are non-binary. Then they're told by their friends, do you not like men or women?
They don't realize, they don't understand.
You're probably gay, aren't you? So they eggshell them.
It's sad.
But you have a lot of these organizations that are like,
It's a
you
predator.
shouldn't be
It's all
promoting this
predator
to
work.
kids who are barely can read and write, and then barely are in high school or middle school.
Yeah.
Unborn and those at the end of life. Our advocacy for these mainstream positions has repeatedly led us to the U.S. Supreme Court, where we have secured 18 victories since 2011, including 2 more cases under submission today. In fact, the SPLC even quietly filed an amicus brief supporting one of ADF's Supreme Court wins on behalf of freedom of association and donor privacy. But the SPLC cannot abide our work on behalf of the vulnerable, parents, children, and the unborn. So it has slandered ADF and other groups like us as hate groups, and sought to lock us out of the public square. The SPLC began targeting mainstream Christian and conservative organizations by adding them to their hate map in 2010. 7 years later, the SPLC's fundraising skyrocketed in response to the notorious Unite the Right rally in Charlottesville.
Yeah.
This wasn't a stroke of good luck. The superseding indictment alleges that the SPLC funded and supported one of its ringleaders. In the immediate aftermath of Charlottesville, the SPLC received large donations or commitments from leading firms and personalities, including JP Morgan Chase, Facebook, Google, Twitter, and even Tim Cook at Apple. In 2018, it launched a coalition of left-wing organizations called Change the Terms. They understood that you don't have to win a
They always need to rewrite history. That's so sad. It's disgusting as well.
debate with your opponents if they're invisible. So the coalition targeted critical
That's
banking,
why the left likes so much censorship.
payment processing, donor advisory, technology, and digital communications infrastructure. It embedded the SPLC within that infrastructure of corporate decision-making, allowing it to influence terms of engagement, flag business partners, and bully corporations into compliance.
I'm going to say this. The fun fact is, they've been flagged as far back as 2010.
Under Obama.
And then you're talking... This is something people do not know about this is why I said the ADL is next at some point, because the ADL is all but going downhill too. A bunch of activists got into these groups. They were saying, because at one point, I have to go back because I was like, the SPLC was basically saying Christians were bad. Around 2010, they were saying Christians were terrible people. Everyone's like, why are you doing this? Oh, they just go too far. Okay. A lot of people sweat that under the rug as a thing. But what's happening is it's being proven. Because as the number of actual Christians and, well, a lot of practicing Christians, even though Charlie Kirk was more extreme, because even Elvita King basically says herself she had to correct Charlie Kirk at one point.
Yeah.
Because, yeah, Charlie Kirk wasn't always a shining beacon on the hill.
Nobody is.
But the idea is he was religious. There are a religious sect. Now, I, as a Christian, will say I believe pro-life is the option, unless it's going to cause the death of the mother.
Yeah.
Okay? It said there are only 2 times in most conservative states they allowed abortion to a point.
Essay and if it's endangering life.
Incest, essay, and health of the mother.
Yeah.
So
it
if
makes
the mother,
sense. I think it's very based.
It's a little bit of the thing, but Texas doesn't block that. You know, it's like, do you want the woman to die in childbirth or whatever? You know, it's a decision they have to make. But do you save the mother at the cost of the child? You know,
Yeah.
when she's near term. You got to understand, it's not that conservatives are heartless. There's actually liberals that believe you should be able to do abortions up to the 2nd trimester into the 3rd. when the
And
child is born.
I'm very different on that matter. I'm very nuanced. So I will explain my thought process for those who don't know. So I was against vaccination, forced vaccination during the QF. And I really hated the government telling you what to do with your body. And that reflects very well what I believe about abortion. The government shouldn't be telling you what to do. However, my nuance, as a person, I am pro-life. I think there's many things you should do before an abortion. Giving away for adoption, wearing protection. And again, if you've been essayed, it's a very different story than that be the only case where I'm like, I understand the abortion. But like if you willingly slept with someone, I think you should woman up and accept it. Now, if you don't want a kid, wear protection. Use whatever contraceptive way you can. Like there's so many ways. So there's no excuse for you to willingly have fun and then abort. I I don't agree with that. So as a person, I am pro-life, but I hate the fact that the government wants to regulate it and tell you what to do. And I will also add this to the discussion. I think abortion were always a thing. Even when it was illegal, women would still do it. And I think it's very sad because then they endanger themselves or they go in other countries that do it. So there's always alternative. And to be honest, I'd rather have the tools so women can safely do it. I don't like
See, and
it.
here's a
I don't
fact
agree.
about when Texas. So the overturning, by the way, a lot of Democrats will harp on this too. By the way, is the overturning of Roe versus Wade. The original woman who was involved in that was pressured and lied to by the advocates for it.
Yeah.
So here's the thing about it. If See, you have a lot of options. Safe sex, the morning after pill. Now, if you're a Catholic and you go to like a hospital, right? There's a famous cases like if you go to a Catholic hospital and you ask for the morning after pill, they probably won't give it to you
Yeah.
because Catholic nuns, right?
Yeah. But again, I think we can have a very nuanced take. And I don't like the government meddling in that. I hate it. But I also think we are master of our destiny and we should know better. We should do better. Um, I will have my first kid this fall, and it's by choice. We wanted our kid. It's no accident. I had previous partner. I had no accident whatsoever. So it's all about being responsible and being smart. Um, but again, accident happen or but again, if that happens, there are other ways. There are other ways like giving to adoption. I think giving to adoption is far better than
But
abortion.
a lot of people realize Christians don't. Like, and there's a whole thing of here's even Christians. Like, I'll be very honest. There's times if people don't feel they're going to be good parents, give the child
Don't.
to somebody who does.
Yeah, I agree with that. That's a very good act. But again, word protection. Word protection. It's simple. It's very simple.
Well, there's an argument I'll say that is really weird in this, and this is what the liberals don't like having, is the fact that the birth control pill not only has screwed up generations of children because we've weakened children genetically, because usually women strive to have sex or like children with strong men, virile men, stuff like that, right?
Yeah.
They've said that it's also, besides the encouragement of free sex, that's like the morning after pill, et cetera, right?
Yeah.
There's this thing of they don't talk about because I'm 40. So you have to understand, we had no STDs in my era because we knew you didn't spread it. Oh, the generation after us, STDs came back like a plague.
Yeah.
Like, hookup culture's a real thing, right?
Yeah.
It's like, oh, you got an accident. Well, shit. No, the whole thing with Christians, it's like, just be responsible. It's not fucking hard. This is the problem with a lot of these organizations. These are like, they're not radical. It's just, it's really weird. There's a conversation to be had why people oppose Christian organizations, but do it rightly. Like,
Yeah.
there's a lot, there are.
Win the debate. Don't censor.
No, and look, I'm not even to the point that the progressives got into the churches. They did. So, this guy's a Christian and he's just trying to advocate not for the other. It's just, not every kid that's autistic is trans or non-binary. God's sakes.
In short, the SPLC mobilized corporate America to crush the voices of mainstream conservative organizations.
This is why this test
The Biden years saw the SPLC deepen its presence in America's political and corporate infrastructure. The Biden DOJ and White House met regularly with SPLC officials. Amazon used the SPLC to blackball groups from its Amazon Smile Giving program. So did the employee
This is all
charitable giving
true.
platform Benevity, which serves nearly a quarter of the Fortune 1000. ADF saw tangible impacts. We lost access to the Amazon Smile program, nonprofit pricing from large technology providers like Microsoft, Adobe, and Intuit, web hosting on the Pantheon platform, and access to donor-advised funds at Fidelity. A partisan political organization like the SPLC should never have been allowed to function as an unaccountable private gatekeeper to critical financial, technology, and communication services. And corporations should never have accepted the word of an organization that is itself severely compromised. In addition to standing indicted today, the SPLC has paid millions in settlements for defamation. Its co-founder and president left in 2019 amid staff reports of a systemic culture of racism and sexism. It received an F from Charity Navigator for hoarding donor money to the tune of more than $800 million. Much of it off.
The more we say, the less it has impact.
I'm gonna say this. The funny part about this is, okay, ads usually, okay, do you know what a purity spiral is?
Yeah, it's you need to be more conservative. You're not conservative enough. You're not progressive enough.
You're not. So
it's like a purity test. You need to be this much to be a conservative.
So there's like this horseshoe theory in a way, but usually with progressive people and liberal people, they wind up becoming as racist as the people. So there's two theories. One is horseshoe theory. One is called purity spirals. The other one. So under horseshoe theory, right, you see like a horseshoe, the one's left and right. Both are too similar, both of the extremes, which I don't apply that because usually far progressive people are very racist. Because what's funny is while they don't hate black people or Mexicans, they'll hate Jewish people or other types. It's really...
Hatred is everywhere from everyone.
You think I'm kidding. Think about this, Mo.
I know you're not. That's why I'm laughing.
I laugh about this, but the fact alone, when I heard that, I was like, that's funny. Even if.
Studies have said that the SPLC is little more than a highly profitable scam. The time has come to uproot the SPLC from America's financial and technology infrastructure. And Congress can
Good luck with that, though.
Investigations of the SPLC can reach beyond the indictment to examine the SPLC's relationships with financial institutions, technology companies, and digital communications platforms. Moreover, Congress can pass legislation barring federally insured financial institutions from delegating decision-making to private entities that discriminate based on First Amendment protected activity. These would be critical steps toward dismantling the SPLC's shadow censorship regime. We thank the committee for its interest in doing so.
Thank you, Mr. Bangert. Professor McCord, your recommendation.
This is the winner.
Members of the committee, thank you for inviting me to testify. The Department of Justice should not use its power as a weapon against people and organizations disliked by the president. No one has said this better than former U.S. Supreme Court Justice and U.S. Attorney General Robert Jackson in his 1940 speech, The Federal Prosecutor. He said, "The prosecutor has more control over life, liberty, and reputation than any other person in America. The prosecutor can order arrests, present cases to the grand jury in secret session, and on the basis of his one-sided presentation of the facts, can cause the citizen to be indicted and held for trial. If the prosecutor is obliged to choose his cases, it follows that he can choose his defendants. It is in this realm in which the prosecutor picks some person whom he dislikes or desires to embarrass, or selects some group of unpopular persons and then looks for an offense, that the greatest danger of abuse of the prosecuting power lies. It is here that law enforcement becomes personal, and the real crime becomes that of being unpopular with the predominant or governing group, being a
It's rich coming from the left. They are the
Did you
first
hear
one
her
to
out?
weaponize. They
Hear her?
weaponize reputation. They're the first one that started cancel culture. I know the Republican also do that now, but like, who started this crap? The left.
They do.
So it's rich. It's really rich.
Hear
It's
her
hilarious.
out. She's trying.
She is like the top tier progressive here.
Here's the thing about her. I'm going to say this. There's an educated class, and they usually get called on as witnesses. She makes a really good case, but you need to see that. Remember what she says at the beginning. Daryl Issa is the first person. She's going to go through a diet. They use history. Okay. But here's the thing. I love history. I'm a historian. I was the science and the history person in school, which was the opposite usually if you were history and English or that. The person who was. So I like history, but you got to understand there's a lot of liberals in history now, especially amongst in YouTube. They've always been, or that. But when you start trying to do history and storytelling from your view with a slant, you're not a real historian. Am I right?
That's hilarious.
Am I right or am I wrong, Multi?
You're right.
With the history, being a historian, you need to be non-biased.
That's true, because history is fact.
So
and that's why the left likes to rewrite history.
This is why when I cover this stuff, I'm pretty fair. I'm not exactly a centrist or a moderate.
Let's speak the facts.
But when it comes to history, I take what's given to me. And I don't take what's given. I go and look it up. But if history proves otherwise, well, that was not true. You know what I mean?
Let's speak up.
Attached to the wrong political views or being personally obnoxious to or in the way of the prosecutor himself. What Justice Jackson warned about has come to pass. The DOJ has initiated fraud investigations against political enemies such as New York Attorney General Letitia James, Federal Reserve Board member Lisa Cook, and former Chair Jerome Powell, and Senator Adam Schiff. And at the same time, the president has granted clemency to more than...
Adam Schiff, luckily he's a senator, and you don't have to see him here. There's been leaks that, I don't know if you remember, Mandalore said it. Most people know who Adam Schiff is because Adam Schiff is this weird-looking dude that talks like Raskin with confidence. But there's always leaks on committees he's on. You know what happens in China if you leak stuff?
You get
or other regimes,
treatment.
You get a very bad disappearance treatment. So
Canada is next.
between Raskin and Adam Schiff that we can't prove actively leak secrets to media. Adam Schiff, we just know every committee he's on, secrets just happen to leak. We just can't prove he is vile. And people go, well, it can't be the case. It's true. I'm just like, well, because you just are criminally liable. And Letitia James, the reason why the Letitia James case fell apart is because it was based that she got a favorable home loan. The federal government couldn't prove. The first Comey indictment was very weak. So what usually happens with federal indictments is they only take them if they can win. Usually.
70 allies, donors, and others convicted of hundreds of millions of dollars in fraud across his 2 terms, often after receiving financial or other benefits from them. And he, along with his Attorney General nominee, have orchestrated a fraud on the court.
Oh, fun fact, by
what
the
about
way.
Somalian doing fraud?
Okay, no. Here's something you got to remember. Giuliani and a bunch of other people were targeted by Democrat officials afterwards. That's what you got to remember. Lawfare, folks. Lawfare is only bad if it's happening to you. But conservatives have said you shouldn't be using lawfare.
The president's collusive lawsuit against the IRS, in which he, his family members, and his businesses all received from the Justice Department an effective pardon from criminal and civil investigations, audits, claims, and prosecutions by any federal.
Remember the Raskin thing about the slush fund? Some people call it the slush fund. People really do believe Trump is just going to pilfer this money. If he does, he's a criminal. He's vowed to give it to charity and do stuff with it.
Department or agency on any subject based on anything that could have been initiated as of the date of the settlement, known or unknown. The so-called settlement came after a federal judge ordered briefing on whether there was actual adversity between the parties, a constitutional requirement for a lawsuit. This one-sided use of prosecutorial power extends to the president's national.
It was a $10 billion. So Trump claimed the IRS frauded him or didn't pay him $10 billion in taxes over a period. They found and they settled for 1.8. Okay.
Yeah.
He turned around and said, I'm going to put it into a community fund for anybody processed under Obama, meaning Biden. Right? January 6th, everything else. Democrats believe it's a slush fund, a protection fund. They believe Trump is using the power of the presidency to enrich himself. Newsflash, folks, every president has done that to a degree, but it's 6 one, half a dozen the other. And no one's going to deny that Trump is not weird when it comes to having ambassadors. Personally, he breaks a court rule. You shouldn't have nepotism. I'll be the first to say Jared Kushner has no place in the government. The fun fact, during the first term of Trump, first time he was out, the military didn't want to give clearance to Jared Kushner because he was sus.
That's funny.
Because he was too close to Trump.
Wow.
So, you're talking, Trump does make weird decisions, but they go after him under this derangement syndrome, which is very different. But not all Republicans agree with what Trump does.
Yeah.
Some just do more than others, because it's pretty much we have to unite behind Trump or whatever the nominee is. But we know Trump is a weird person. That's why a lot of people correct him. But there are yes men around Trump. Yes people. But they're just now targeting all these people.
National Security Presidential Memorandum 7. Using the domestic terrorism label, it mandates that federal government, including the DOJ, use every tool in its toolbox to target groups with ideologies this administration perceives as, quote, anti-Americanism, anti-capitalism, and anti-Christianity, extremism on migration, race, and gender,
Wow.
and hostility towards those who
Almost
hold traditional
based.
American views on family, religion, and morality. NSPM 7 states that the groups and entities that perpetuate this extremism have created a movement that embraces and elevates violence to achieve policy outcomes. It relies for support.
Well, the left also does that. She just doesn't.
Where were these Democrat court pundits during the Black Lives Matter rally and
burning down buildings?
Burning down cities.
On the murder of Charlie Kirk, assassination attempts against the president and Justice Brett Kavanaugh, and the so-called riots in protest of ICE activity. And although murders and threats of violence are reprehensible and illegal, the examples do not justify the stark lack of parity in NSPM 7's treatment of supposedly dangerous ideologies. There is no mention in NSPM 7 of the politically motivated murders of Minnesota Democratic legislators.
You know what's a dangerous ideology? Having too much empathy to a point that to promote MAID because the sick, they need help. This is dangerous.
Well, you're talking MAID, you're talking a bunch of others. Go figure.
So, like, she's like dangerous ideology, and she only refers to the right, but also the left as very dangerous ideology.
So,
as well.
yes, but they...
Antifa, they bomb buildings.
Yeah, Antifa's
they endanger lives, literally. So they're also dangerous.
Legislator Melissa Hortman and her husband, or the mass shootings committed in Buffalo, New York, El Paso, Texas, and Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania by white supremacists who justified their violence.
What about trying to shoot Trump? What about taking down Kirk?
By the way, there was an attempt on Trump at the UFC fight.
I'm not
by a kid, yeah.
Based
on the Great Replacement theory. The one-sided memorandum not only...
It exists. It's hilarious. It exists. It's been proven. Like, so many studies are around that. Like, this is exactly what the elites want, because they will remain in power.
No, that goes a little bit further. There's something about the Great Replacement theory that they say is probably real, but you can also file that to where what I'm about to say is going to sound really weird to you. So to get Black people to accept trans people or gay people, they've been telling them to get with men to get with trans women. And there was a conspiracy in the Black community that they were trying to turn them gay or get them to screw trans women.
That's hilarious.
That could be.
I think you already told me that, actually. It's
I've said this before. It's one of those theories that the left conveniently forgets that there has been war on Black population from their own side. It's later brought up in this hearing about Planned Parenthood was founded by Margaret Sanger to abort the unwanted or trash population, mainly Black people.
Yeah.
So, I don't know about people, but some people don't know their own history.
Yeah.
Yeah, sadly, I know it.
It's
So
sad, indeed.
So this idea, the great replacement theory, is not real.
It is real.
It's real. Everything is conspiracy until people are calling it conspirafact. So it's been that way for a while. Like, just by the way, before we move on, it's just like they said COVID wasn't created in a lab. We said that, and it got out of a lab. The government all but confirmed it 2 years later under Biden.
Wow.
Lacks legitimacy, it raises the stakes for organizations that hold views the administration
it's like people believe in
dislikes.
conspiracy
It has the strong potential to lead to the discriminatory targeting of organizations based on the exercise of First Amendment rights. Within months of then Attorney General Pam Bondi's December 2025 memo reminding prosecutors of the many federal criminal provisions that might be used in implementing NSPM 7, the SPLC was indicted. SPLC has for decades spoken out against racial violence, sued to protect civil rights and dismantle hate groups, and worked cooperatively with law enforcement. Commenting on the charges, the president called SPLC one of the greatest political scams in American history. I'm not here to discuss the substance of the charges against the SPLC, which is being ably defended in court, but the targeting of the organization harkens the very danger Justice Jackson warned about, that law enforcement becomes personal and the real crime becomes that of being unpopular with the predominant or governing group, being attached to the wrong political views, or being personally obnoxious to or in the way of the prosecutor himself.
So, that was the second clip.
I want you to remember the other. Play this one.
Yeah, let's get into the third one.
Thank you, Mr. President.
So far, what I must say is your Congress and your committees are far more balanced than Canadian ones.
I want you to remember, usually the part after the witnesses have their statements, they have it. I want you to remember what she said when Daryl Issa goes first.
Professor McCord, I congratulate you on your ad hominem attacks on the president, and you're deflecting any part of answers as to the nature of this hearing. Your absence of that shows a great deal about how you have no answers for our questions, but you have answers for your own party persuasion. Mr. Bangert, I apologize in advance.
I love that.
I'm going to focus a little bit over here, but it's not because your organization hasn't been the subject of the attacks by Mr. Fair's organization.
No, that's just an aide behind him.
Dr. King, I'll start with you.
Priceless.
You wear a cross here today. You spoke of God and Jesus Christ, your deep faith, and the conviction that comes with that faith as to how a just government and a people should act. Is that a fair statement of who you are?
The statement of who I am is just a 75-year-old woman who has experienced so much. I have been personally flagged by SPLC, and I have been on a domestic terrorist list, interestingly enough, for much of my life.
Well, Dr. King, that's the nature of the question. Is that because of who you are, because of your faith?
What did she do?
She was either a civil rights activist or not going against a lot of Black organizations.
And she's even a terror lord. Okay, amazing.
They let
Antifa loose. But
there's context to this. She's a Christian and a religious person that puts her at odds with a lot of liberals that generally wanted to strip that. She's pro-life, not pro-choice. So you gotta understand, she isn't this way. But to a lot of the Black community, she's not Black enough to the African American Blacks. So much so, Jasmine Crockett, towards the end of this, calls her a bastard and says she's not really related to Martin Luther King.
Are you kidding me?
Wait till you get that. We won't get that today.
Bruh. No.
Yeah. Dude, just play.
I'm speechless. I'm out of word.
Yes.
These people, folks, these people.
Because you have championed the teachings of your father and your uncle. Yesterday, I led a small trip into the Capitol where the rotunda has virtually only presidents of the United States other than Dr. King. Is it in fact his teachings and the teachings of people like that that you follow that has caused you to be so labeled?
I believe that these attacks against me and others are not because only of my faith, certainly because of my faith, absolutely. My uncle, Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., once said that the law may not make you love me, but it can keep you from killing me. And so I believe that many of us are persecuted because of our faith and our beliefs. I think it's a little unfair because I say life from the womb to the tomb and beyond, that I'm on a domestic terrorist list. I think that's unfair.
Well, you join a group of faithful people, as Mr. Banger mentioned.
Wait. Being faithful is meaning you're a terror lord? No.
She's a faithful Christian, so she's a villain of a lot of people.
Wow.
So there's this weird thing amongst Christians. They'll develop this severe martyrdom complex, which nothing against them. But she's of that she has been on the outs with a lot of people at one point, because one of the first things we're starting to see now is the progressives infiltrated Christianity.
That's crazy. They shouldn't have.
They did, because you would not.
It goes against a lot of their ideas.
But here's where it gets weird, right? A lot of this ultimately is she feels prosecuted because they go, oh, you're not real black because you basically, I use the phrase, she strayed away from the DNC plantation. And look, it's not everything. It's not a look, it sounds derogatory, but there's a lot of Democrats.
When it sounds like it is, but it's hilarious.
So you laugh because you know the context of it. There's a lot of Democrats. They'll get other black people to corral them, and they go, "You're not really black if you want to vote Republican." Well,
guilt by association, folks.
No, actually,
all that's the arts.
It's crabs in the bucket mentality.
Tend to be what we'd call center-right leading. You knew Charlie Kirk and his work, didn't you?
I did know Charlie Kirk.
And his work, like your work, was about love, people getting along, but it was also about teaching of the benefits of faith, wasn't it?
I was able to make some peace with Charlie before he was killed because he said some bad things about my uncle. I didn't like it. I was upset and I said, Charlie, but one of the last things Charlie said.
Wait, so someone is mean to you, you can move on past that and actually agree with the rest. Wow, it's so foreign.
See, Charlie Kirk did disagree with something Martin Luther King did. She corrected him. And that's actually true.
You can disagree to you can agree to disagree.
Yes, indeed.
You can play more.
To an African-American young man, he says, our DNA makes us the same, not this skin. Charlie actually said that, and he publicly apologized at a meeting where I was. So Charlie was not an angel. I'm definitely not an angel. President Trump, Biden,
I like this part.
Angels, please raise your hand right now. If you're out there, I need to meet you. However, it's misguided compassion that brings us here
Toxic
today.
empathy.
It is misguided compassion that puts me on a domestic terrorist list. I think that is very unfair. And you know, old people like me giving money to SPLC and then calling me later, oh my God, they believe it's okay to cut a boy's penis off. I was like, seems like they're spending a little money to do that. And people are totally shocked. I hope people will take the medicine and come on and admit that they are funding some things. They might be doing some good stuff. But look at it like this. I have a dog, and I'm making some brownies. And they chocolate. The dog poops some brown stuff. I put a little secret ingredient in there. And I put it in my brownies, and the people get worms. It's not right. It's just not right.
Thank you, Dr. King.
I
Mr. Fair,
love
don't want you to be left
her
out of
testimony. Her testimony is so based. Like, how can we treat her like an extremist or some crap like that?
She is religious fundamentalist a little bit, but she's not as.
She is so based.
Yes. Look, she does have some things, but she's a very reasonable.
I think that's my favorite witness. She trumps them all. Didn't. I'm so bad at it.
this conversation. Your organization has labeled Dr. King and Charlie Kirk and others. Do you regret that? Will you recant it? Or are you going to double down and say that these people, including
playing their own game,
Charlie Kirk, in fact, somehow deserve to be on your hate list for they're constantly talking about bringing people together, talking about the teachings of the Bible and the like?
Congressman Issa, as I said in my statement.
No, wait a second. No. I heard your statement. I only want an answer to your question in 11 seconds left.
No BS.
Are you going to recant, yes or no? And if you're not going to, please don't tell me it's because now you're under charges. Your organization did it as much as 16 years ago. Will you take back any part of that, or is your hate list stand as your position of your organization as it's head today?
Yes.
I feel like this is accountability coming roast or some crap like that.
I want you to understand. The funny part is this gets worse. He ain't the only person who asked him this.
But like, I look at that, I'm like, wow.
Look at his. I want you to
Canadian
remember.
Politics.
Look at
this is better, bro.
Look at his facial expressions. He's in pain.
He is losing the fight, but he will die on that hill. Thrown to pasture.
Yes, will continue to expose hate and extremism.
Okay, we'll take that as the list stands.
Look at him.
Chairman, I have unanimous consent.
I'll die on this
Thank
hill.
you. That a submission from the Heartbeat International for today's hearing be placed in the record.
Objection.
That a message, particularly from, it's entitled "The Truth About."
It's hilarious. All there was like objection, and the guys continue because it doesn't give an F. I like it. Oh, this is nice.
I'm gonna say this.
I don't give a crap.
Daryl Issa. Here's the thing about. Okay, so there's a procedure of after testimony is done, you can submit. Daryl Issa has some based stuff. Like, he has fucked up on... Now, his not proudest moment was trying to get the Hillary Clinton indictments for, like, multiple years. So, that was his thing.
I love that. Really, like, what's going on thus far?
You gotta understand.
It's amazing.
He is not a total idiot. He can be good. He's just not the brightest bulb in the tree all the time.
That's fine. As long as
I'd be thankful I left out Representative Johnson, who said Guam would flip over if you put too much troops on it.
About the SPLC from the Family Research Council be placed in the record.
Objection.
And lastly, Mr.
He doesn't care.
For this hearing,
No.
a statement from the Executive Director.
No. Okay.
That's the second objection. Just disregards it.
No.
Let me continue.
No, okay. Let me explain that process. When someone submits a document, the chairman of the committee says, if he says no objection, it goes into the record. It's a procedure.
Okay.
Get it?
It's so funny.
It's funny, but that's how our system works. It's So what he's doing now is submitting paperwork or stuff he wants for the congressional record into the paperwork. So people are saying he, as a chairman, is saying no objection.
I see. But let's continue.
Sorry. So now you know.
Director's Office of the Center for Immigration Studies be placed in the record.
Without objection.
Thank you. I yield back.
Gentleman yields back. Chair now recognizes the gentleman from Maryland.
Thank you kindly, Mr. Chairman. Ms. McCord, our colleagues invoked the fact that the SPLC had an informant in a white nationalist group at the infamous Unite the Right rally in August of 2017 in Charlottesville as some kind of indictment of the SPLC. But didn't that SPLC informant create the information that allowed the SPLC to send 3 different FBI field offices a 45-page memorandum warning of planned violence and the potential for violence at this extremist confab?
But it still
Those
happens.
that have been represented in court.
Mr. Fair, is it true that the SPLC sent a memo based on that informant's work to 3 different FBI field offices?
Yes.
Okay, I'm going to say this, which is about to drive you nuts. It drives me nuts. This man goes out of his way to justify his party and demonize Trump.
Amazing.
His opposition. This guy, he's effective at what he does. Okay?
I can see that. I can tell it.
I just want you to understand it is the most obnoxious shit, but I see through it because I've watched this man for years. I'm just saying, I'm not trying to tell you. Listen to how weaselly he is. They're trying to tell you this. Let me correct the record.
Let's play more.
Yes, it is.
Okay. The chairman spoke with some indignation about the fact that there were $3 million or $4 million spent giving to undercover informants to try to expose the work of the extremist groups, as in Charlottesville in 2017, where Heather Heyer was killed by
and 2 police officers.
I'm just curious how the members of the panel feel about this proposed $1.776 billion political slush fund set up for the Proud Boys, the Oath Keepers, and other convicted criminals and rioters from January 6th. Do you think that that fund should be shut down and any other similar fund, Mr. Fair?
Yeah,
Yes or no?
Yes, I do.
Dr. King, do you agree that that should be shut down?
I will not speak on whether that particular fund should be
Or
shut
any
down.
such fund.
I think some of these slush funds that SPLC is using.
Okay, but my question is about the one proposed by Todd Blanche. It's a yes or no?
I will not answer on it.
Okay.
I think
Mr.
they
Banger,
need to stop
do you
killing
think-
the babies and cutting the penises off. And so any slush
Okay,
fund is
I have limited time. We can
money in that is the problem.
Mr. Banger, do you believe that the $1.776 billion political slush fund should be shut down and any similar fund?
I think that's a question for Congress to answer.
Okay, and Professor McCord, what do you think? Should that political slush fund be shut down?
Yes, it should.
And any similar slush fund?
Yes, it should.
Okay. So the conceit of the prosecution, this whole hearing, the whole attack on the SPLC is that there's some contradiction between fighting against extremist hate and racism for decades and then sending people undercover as informants to find out what these groups are doing. Do you agree that there's a contradiction, Professor McCord?
I agree that it is a very useful law enforcement tool to use informants and cooperators to learn more, not just about hate groups and potential domestic violent extremism, but also as a tool to dismantle drug trafficking groups and human trafficking groups.
So if the FBI sent someone undercover to expose a mafia organization, narco traffickers, international human traffickers, that wouldn't mean that the FBI is supporting those groups, would it?
That's correct.
Okay. As a matter of law, and as a matter of fact, can you have a criminal fraud if there are no victims of the fraud?
God damn it.
To have a criminal fraud, you have to have made statements and fraudulently to induce some activity. And if it did not induce some sort of activity, like a gift or donation, then there is no.
Well, what I don't understand is that suddenly, out of the blue, there's a claim that the Southern Poverty Law Center is engaged in fraud because it's been extremely effective. I wish it had been even more effective, for example, in stopping the Oklahoma City bombing, where nearly 200 people were killed in an act
Bro,
of
no one in
fanatical
living
white
memory
nationalism.
remembers this.
So why does he bring it up?
You want to know why?
To kill
I'll
time?
give you the exact reason why. This man will go around the way to justify the devil. And it is so hilarious. The other ones I cut out that were really stupid in their arguments because this was 3 hours. Okay? This section. So I cut out the ones that were just trying to be part of the whatever the ceremony was. Because, and I say this down below, if you find it, you can find it yourself. The problem is with the other people is they're trying to do later on, they do the gotchas on Republicans and conservatives, but it's like, oh, Trump bad. No, The problem with this hearing is Democrats have to create a new spin narrative that protects them.
Politics is spinning stuff around.
It's spinning, but yes. Now, the issue is itself is Daryl. ISO will used to spin it for his side, but this man is the spin meister for the Democrats. By that, look, it's hard to listen to him without my skin crawling. But
it's been quite effective. I don't know of any group that's been more effective, other than potentially the FBI itself, in stopping extremist white violence. Well, do you believe that it is an act of fraud when the donors to the group understand perfectly well that people are being sent undercover to try to get information on what these groups are doing?
If donors were not defrauded, and no donors have come forward, to my knowledge, suggesting that they were unaware of what the SPLC was doing, that program has been known for a long time, and so that creates a problem.
It just seems to me amazing to be alleging a fraud when there are no victims. When I just looked up the Trump University case, there were hundreds and hundreds of people coming forward.
This is like the cult meeting.
Why do you bring this up again?
I'm just saying this. You're going to find out a lot of the Democrats, whenever there's
always Trump, the big
no, here's what it is. You find in our Democrats, every single time there's an issue with a thing, they either bring out the Epstein files or something Trump has done. They know the Epstein files don't work anymore, so they bring out the Trump University. So,
wow.
I hate to say it, you're getting a crash course. You think that your NDP, I want you to look at a lot of these liberal people and go back and look at your NDP. These are the advanced form of them.
Hilarious.
Screaming to high heaven about how they've been ripped off and exploited by this fake university, and they won $25 million.
So do you pay the same people to do the bomb and then go and comfort the people from being bombed? You pay the same people to do both jobs? That's kind of fraud to me. That's weird and chaotic and confusing.
Well, Dr. King, I don't think there's any allegation that anybody who was working with the Southern Poverty Law Center bombed anyone.
I didn't show my reaction to that. She's like, do you think I'm stupid? This is exactly what's going on.
No, she broke protocol. Here's what she did is she broke protocol and spoke.
I love it.
That's the funny part about this is she broke protocol because you're not supposed to interrupt testimony.
But she didn't care.
But she did it not by talking over, because they can mute like a microphone from the thing. She just corrected him. And it's like a scolded child. You're fucking up my narrative.
Look at his face. He's like, wow, I just got effed over. And
you
now he's
just
the
fucked
petulant
over my
child.
narrative. That's what you did.
He is the petulant child right now. I love it.
It's yeah, you'll find this a lot in
Of information to that effect?
I don't personally, but outside agitators did bomb our house.
Do you have evidence of this? You're under oath.
House in 63 and then ran back and took off the Ku Klux Klan sheets and put on police things and ran up in the yard.
Well,
that's the same people. It was crazy.
I'm with you, and that's a statement about the racism of that police force working with the Ku Klux Klan.
Y'all pay both of them to do the double jobs. SPLC does. Really, you hire them to do the bombing, then you hire
I'm
them
dying
to
a
do the
laugh.
bombing. That's weird.
Dr. King, you're asserting a lot of things under oath, and you haven't brought the evidence with you.
Oh, that's like the liberal way. Bring me evidence, bruh. It's like black on white. It's like, no, I can't believe it. And let me say this. Black men speaking to a woman, is it mansplaining?
I want you to understand the adorable
racist mansplaining right now.
So the adorable part of this questions, I was so tempted to take out some of the cute moments. By what's cute to me is the weird snarky moments. The interesting part is he's gone over his time. But the interesting part is no one's objecting, and they're having this they only have 5 minutes.
Yeah. You know what? It's hilarious. I'm dying of laugh right now. He is getting scolded, as he said. I love it. More of that.
So I think
I'll get some for you.
Okay, please, bring us the evidence, and I'll yield back to you, Mr. Chairman.
I'll get some for you.
Mr. Fair, did the Southern Poverty Law Center use donor money to have field sources attend extremist rallies across the country?
Mr. Chairman.
It's a simple question. Did you use your donor money for that purpose?
We used donor money.
So yes or no?
Paid confidential informants to infiltrate extremist organizations.
I read through this. I'm laughing even more.
I want you to take a look at his face. This face is, you're going to see through the entire thing, this variation
guilty
of this
charge.
face.
But I want to say this. If you are being asked yes or no, just respond yes or no.
Actually, no. If there's a legal case, he can defer to the legal case, because that is actually allowed. It's just very funny how he does this. I just want you to remember this face. You're gonna see this a lot.
When I hear someone not responding by yes or no to a yes or no question, I know from the get-go that person is full of BS.
Some people don't answer questions directly, because his whole thing is the problem. It would be really normal, because there's questions asked by Democrats that he'll answer them. But if it's Republicans, he'll go, see our jurisdiction in the court later on.
Disgusting.
The Southern Poverty Law Center used donor dollars to have field sources host extremist rallies throughout the country.
It's the most uncomfortable.
Not to my knowledge.
That's not what the indictment says. Did the Southern Poverty Law Center use donor dollars to have field sources grow existing chapters of extremist groups?
Mr. Chairman, as I said,
more lies are coming.
Mr. Fair, did you use donor money for the purpose I just
yes
said?
Or no? No,
yes
yes or no?
Indictment.
You're full of
and Mr.
crap.
Chairman, the indictment will be managed and responded to by counsel in the criminal case that's
Well, you just
pending.
answered a question from Mr. Raskin concerning the indictment. He asked you, did...
Okay, I want you to see this point. He actually does have a legal defense. he could say it's in the criminal indictment. You will find out later on. But he answered questions from Raskin and other Democrats. He does this afterwards.
Fascinating. So this clip, it's it's so long.
I told you this is.
We are not covering the entire thing tonight. I'm sorry, but like,
no.
It's getting late, my friend.
No, so, you'll find
Markdown 1251.
Will do.
Somewhere.
Oh.
Because I thought that was like another clip that was like half an hour.
No, that shit is 2 hours.
I think it's very interesting. I love it, but it's late.
Let me see if I can find it.
This community.
Well, I think it's despicable that FRC was playing.
No, we will cover the rest another day.
I have to find
pilot.
Oh God, I'm gonna have to find the. You're gonna die the moment you find.
We keep that for next week.
No, the black woman who calls her a bastard child and not a real person related.
But we will split that for next week.
Oh yeah,
the following week, because we will see, but like Markdown somewhere.
This goes quick. The problem is a lot of this is pretty straightforward. So like.
So again, Markdown 1252.
I did.
Public knowledge.
Okay. And this is where we will pick up next week.
See, here's the thing. The problem with a lot of this getting out, the problem is it's a slow week for stuff. So a lot of this is kind of getting out more now. But the thing about it is this hearing we've been waiting on for a while. And the thing is, this hearing happened on the 8th.
That's interesting.
Now, the interesting part is it wasn't widely known unless you followed it. The problem is there's a lot. The only thing I edited out was a lot of the bad testimony, because what you will see a subtle hints of it is the Democrats try sweeping the narrative because they can't combat the narrative. They're just hoping it doesn't get out, because worst case scenario, the government doesn't prove their case against the Southern Poverty Law Center, right?
Yeah.
The worst case scenario is they have no knowledge because there's basis of the charge. The problem now for them is not. It's like Raskin has tried to spin it because he's spinning everything as it's just a malicious prosecution by Trump. Now, the thing is, this investigation was started and found out initially under the Trump administration, abandoned under Biden, and then repicked back up.
Just because it's convenient. Anyway, again, we will pick up where we left off next week. So we'll pick up that for next week. And now that's the outro. So I will ask you, Dragon, what do you have going on your end of the internet?
Nothing to be determined, sadly. I've really been not streaming this month. But I probably got Division next week. I'm probably going to cycle through some games. But, not sure. I do have other commentary because I was going to cover this on my own channel. I probably could cover some of the stuff, but yeah, there's a lot here, Multi. You are going to learn. It's not that we have a broken system. It's just a lot of Democrats and activists got very deep. Because when I've mentioned about think tanks being used as experts, you're now seeing it.
In Canada, it's the exact same BS. Anyway, so next week we'll pick up at 12:52. And with that being said, what happens next on the channel? Well, Sunday, I think if I got the energy in me, I will be finishing my second playthrough of First Light. And then at some point this week, I will start recording a review for the game for my gaming channel.
I commend you on.
First Light is deeply flawed.
I commend you on that. I know some people who haven't even. I pray that you can get through the last level without it bugging out.
I got so many glitch, bro. Like the game is broken.
No, the last level apparently glitches like hell.
I know. I've seen it in the first.
I would have said I've been streaming. I've been playing a lot of Diablo 4 in the season. And
the other thing on the channel, well, Tuesday I will be talking about Superman Return and Superman A Quest for Peace, and I will compare these two bad movies to other two bad movies from DC as well, being Batman and Robin and Batman Forever, because they all mark the end of two different eras.
I would not compare those two.
Let's compare them because they're all bad. With that being said, Thursday I will be talking about Toy Story 5. I think it had very interesting things. I like kids movie. I'm guilty of charge. I will have a kid soon, so I need to learn how to enjoy that kind of content. With that being said, next Saturday we shall react to things once again.
We should be able to finish this up next week.
Yeah, we will continue what we started, and I'm looking forward for that. Late, but probably earlier because I will be home all day. So maybe we'll start a bit earlier next.
I should send it to you because you're gonna be dead. Like, it's probably might be better if you go in there, but for you going in, I'm used to this bullshit from them.
Yeah,
I can watch C-SPAN and not pass out, but the trick about this is that's how we get ours. Like, you have your committee, right? This is how we get ours. The funny thing about the committees, even if half of this doesn't ever come out in the whistleblowers, it's entertaining because what happens, most people only see when our politicians give a news conference.
Yeah,
that's the trick. You never see this. It's more or less.
So also, Dragon, just to let you know, Supergirl in 2 weeks. Basically Tuesday.
It's gonna sneak up on me more than I know.
So Tuesday, June 30, we shall talk about Supergirl. So be ready. It comes out Friday. I'm very excited about that. We are very much in the future, but this is what's going on the channel, and for those that want more content like that,
I should have been.
What to do. You know what to do, folks. Subscribe. On the channel, you also have links for the other channel, the reaction channel, the gaming channel, and the DCG. I need to upload TCG because I've been neglecting that channel so much. With that being said, I am Multi the Big Dog. This was Dragon, and I enjoyed my night, and that was very fun. Thank you, everyone. And we are out. Seeing you next Saturday, a bit earlier.